Where we dropping, boys? It's another episode of a Slice of Gaming podcast for November 3rd, 2023. And we'd like to thank you for giving a slice of your time to tune into a Slice of Gaming podcast. I'm your host, Moonlight150. And be sure to check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Audible. Rest in peace to Google Podcasts. We got a interesting set of news topics today. We got BlizzCon starting. What?
Twitter.
Okay. There's also that Twitter, that dying platform of you can check us out there as a slice of gaming. So just gonna go over our news stories for the week. We got BlizzCon starting up. We got Fortnite OG, and of course the big one, all the Bungie and other company layoffs. So we're gonna go over all of that. But we're gonna get into intros first. So going solo at Tilted Towers, it's Wolf.
I don't like the Fortnite theme for today's episode. I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
This is what we're doing. Where are we dropping, Wolf?
Hiding in the legendary bush. It's dark.
How's it going?
Okay, he's sticking with it. All right. Okay, he's sticking with it. Okay.
He's full sending it. That's it. You can't do anything about it.
I'm dedicated. And he just wants to chug jug with you. It's Navi.
Hey.
So I already gave our spiel, and the Twitter spot. I should have just put the Twitter spot here. Anyway, let's move on to the news with Wolf.
Check us out on Twitter. Like Moon always forgets.
I said it twice now.
Was here. If Bench was here, he would have been yelling at you. That's all I'll say. Yeah, we got a pretty big news week this week. A lot of interesting stories, but I do want to start off with BlizzCon. That was the big thing that started this today, actually. It was kind of annoying trying to get a roundup of everything, but I figured something out, and we got a lot of pretty interesting stuff, mostly from the opening ceremony, as, you know, BlizzCon is going to roll over through the weekend. We'll try to update as we go if there are other any crazy reveals. But we got to talk about that opening ceremony. I didn't watch this live. Did any of you guys watch it?
I did. I have thoughts.
I was at work, so.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I have quite a bit to say about it.
Yeah, go for it. What do you got about the opening ceremony, just overall?
So overall, I thought what they showed, they were very straightforward when people were expecting the survival and they didn't have it. They talked about it briefly. For some of the Warcraft stuff, they straight up said this is not going to be here this time, but maybe next year they were very clear what was there, what wasn't. They had a good layout. What they did show was really cool. I have issues with. I'll get into it later after you get into the news.
I'm assuming with the pacing, because I heard it was 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it was really long.
Looking at the announcements, I don't know how they got this all in 2.5 hours. That's all I'll say. But it is interesting to say the least. I'll start off. One of the first things they did, Phil Spencer took the stage. Very exciting, obviously, considering they just spent some money on this company. So of course Phil is going to represent Blizzard in Anaheim with this convention. And this is very expected. He's their new daddy, basically. So he's gonna come on stage and basically give a nice rousing speech. I guess any thoughts on just Phil appearing?
It was nice to see him there.
It was kind of expected, I guess. Daddy gotta show up. Remind you of your place.
God bless him.
Was that the only let me rephrase this. I'm trying to think of the word. Was that the only way Microsoft was involved?
Yeah.
Were they involved? They didn't say anything else.
It was
no
just
Game Pass or anything.
Yeah, no Game Pass, no nothing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they literally just bought them last month.
Yeah, it was
I don't think it's that crazy.
Maybe if they had an extra 2 months, maybe they could have weaseled something in there. But even then, I don't know how they would have done that.
Exactly. Moving on, we get to talk about my favorite game, Overwatch 2!
What a great game.
Great game.
Yeah.
Wesley Yinpol over at IGN had a little roundup of all the Overwatch 2 stuff. After the announcement leaked earlier this morning on the Nintendo Switch eShop news channel, which is so funny, Blizzard has confirmed that Overwatch 2's next hero is Mauga. Revealed during BlizzCon 2023, Blizzard shared an overview of the character, showing off Mauga's weapons and abilities. As a heavy assault character, Mauga wields a number of heavy artillery weapons like the incendiary chain gun and the volatile chain gun. I'll say right now, Mauga as a character is one that's actually been kind of teased ever since Baptiste when he was released, and that was back in Overwatch 1 around 2019. He was one of the last characters added into Overwatch 1. And this was kind of a character long time coming. very much they've been teasing manga since then, and we always assumed he was going to come out soon, and he never did. And I am so mad that like one of my most anticipated characters, one of the characters I really wanted to play, releases when I don't give a shit about Overwatch anymore. So that's not a fun news story for me personally. But he did look fun. He looks like a good character. It's got to get a tank. I hope that they're able to make it work. They did reveal some extra stuff in terms of Overwatch's future. Several more heroes are coming to Overwatch 2 next year, and Blizzard shared some of the teases of what fans can expect. A new damage hero named Venture, which is the stupidest name, will join Overwatch 2 in Season 10, and a new support hero currently codenamed Space Ranger is coming in Season 12.
Buzz Lightyear's coming to Overwatch?
No Buzz
Moon,
Lightyear.
right. Moon, not now. Okay, we're talking about Overwatch. This is serious. Beyond new characters, Blizzard detailed a new core PvP game mode called Clash. I have thoughts on that. Revealed that the Hanamura map from the original Overwatch is coming back as Hanaoka in 2024, which that's actually really exciting. I love Hanamura, and when they removed 2CP, it was kind of that thing of like, Hanamura is gone. Even if it was like not a very well-designed map, like I still did enjoy like the aesthetic of Hanamura, so hearing that it's going to get reworked is exciting. And that early 2024, we'll see a reworked version of the competitive system with new competitive rewards, which is another good change. Something that I've been wanting for a while is more rewards, more stuff that I can get out of the competitive meta in that game. But I do want to talk about this Clash mode. The new characters, I have nothing to say about. Yeah, sure, they're making new characters. The sky is blue. But Clash is something interesting. Blizzard has tried so hard to make new modes for Overwatch 2, like Overwatch in general, since I want to say like 2017 with Capture the Flag. If you remember Capture the Flag, they were very much like, yeah, this is going to be like, we're going to do this as an arcade mode, and then it's going to eventually become a thing in like the main game if we can get people to like it well enough. And nobody liked Capture the Flag. It was a horrible mode. And with Overwatch 2, they created Push. And Push, you ask most Overwatch fans, nobody really likes the push maps. It's just a pushing back and forth over and over again over a long amount of time.
Push that robot. Push that robot.
It's literally just push that robot, and it's never interesting, and I never liked it. I will say, I have hope that they can nail Clash. It sounds interesting enough from what we hear, but it's not really enough to say like what we can get out of Clash and allowing me to be excited for it. I mean, it's hard for me to be excited about anything Overwatch related because I'm sitting here like,
what would get you back into Overwatch?
Campaign. That's it. That's I want my PvP. I want my PvE missions. That's all I want. I want them to actually be good. And if you're telling me like whatever that bullshit was a few months ago when they did those PvE missions, the fact that they barely even mentioned PvE, by the way, I just want to mention that
because they're dead.
They barely.
Yeah.
Well, there's still PvE like missions in the sense like, oh, they release like 3 missions every 4 months or something, and it's not a focus anymore. It's clear, and it just sucks that like that was the thing I was excited about with Overwatch. And just seeing how every time I play Overwatch now, I'm telling you guys, it is like anger inducing. Like I'm like, I hate this game. Why am I playing it? It's
Why
like how a lot of
people.
Well, I haven't played it in months, so you know, I'm proud of myself for that one.
Are those missions expanding on the lore?
Yes, they have like cutscenes and whatnot, but like it's like snippets. I don't know if you played Overwatch, Navi. It's
I haven't played too.
Okay, yeah. Well, you're a smart man for that. Do you know like the archives missions where they would like kind of have like a PvE mode?
Yeah.
It's literally that. Like that's kind of how they do it with these like story missions, where it's like, yeah, there's story, but not enough to really like what we were expecting out of it.
Not enough to justify
Overwatch.
the 2.
Nothing
There's
will justify
nothing
that.
enough to justify. Yeah.
Except if that campaign happened. That's all I'm saying. Maybe they'll do it. Who knows?
Please don't.
Don't give them ideas.
But yeah, that's everything in relation to Overwatch. Moving on, there was a quick section. Oh wait, no, actually that's later. Sorry. We're gonna go to Diablo 4. So I don't have much to say about this because I gave up on Diablo 4. But yeah, I know, Dark, you've actually been saying you've been really enjoying Diablo 4 as of late. Anything to say about this expansion? I will say real quick, let me run through the Bungie sales. Kind of did like a quick little roundup of everything. First expansion, Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred announced. First expansion, Diablo 4, launching late 2024, continues the story and involves primeval Mephisto. Mephisto heads, there you go. New region to D4, completely new class never before seen in the Diablo universe. Any thoughts?
So I want to say off the get-go, just like because Diablo had a very rough start. I've never seen a company almost killed itself like Diablo before.
Well,
They've
it had a
turned
good
around.
start, but like it was
They had
like
a good
that
start, and then
next
they
month.
almost murdered. Yeah, they've
Mhm.
100% turned around. Like they fixed damn near everything, and the seasons right now are very enjoyable to play, especially season 2. They had a lot of fun content, so I'm very much looking forward to this expansion. They announced that like a new region is coming in, a new class, which is always fun. I feel like it should come out earlier because like given what happened, but it is what it is. But I'm very excited to see what they're doing with this game. And hopefully
mean-
the seasons continue to improve, because right now season 2 is incredible. If season 2 feels like what the game should have been like at launch.
Like a counterpoint, like to it being a little late. This is a full-on expansion versus a season. So if they can nail like
That's
later
true.
seasons, like they have with season 2, and then you just get a full-on expansion, like I think this game could have a long life ahead of it.
Well, I do think it does. If they keep the dedication that they've put into it now, all the way up to then, it'll be good.
I just hope the monetization doesn't get too crazy. I don't think.
From what
I
I've
doubt it.
Yeah,
That bad
from
later on.
what the story is always there, but there's nothing worth picking up there. And then there's the battle pass, which is it comes per season. The season lasts like a super long time. I know like this season started like almost a month ago, like 3-4 weeks
Oh.
ago, and it ends in like the end of January. So it's chunky amount of time for you to do everything.
I'll be honest. Every time, like, I have like been immune to the battle pass. I saw the battle pass menu when I was playing that game. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna avoid that.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's some cool gear. Everything is just cosmetic. You do
Okay.
not get enough to buy the next battle pass. Like I know some battle. Yeah, don't expect that here.
That was crazy.
Yeah, so it's $10 every
It's like
time.
barely not enough, which is just funny to me.
How
Moving
many
on.
expansions does Diablo
go for it.
usually have?
So Diablo
I
3 had
don't-
one expansion, if I recall correctly,
Reaper of Souls.
which was incredible. That was a great expansion. I did not play the other Diablos, so I don't know. It seems like this Diablo 4, they're setting it up to have multiple expansions. So I'd say 2 to 3. I don't think they'll do 4 though. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, there's also Rise of the Necromancer from what I see for Diablo 3.
Is that an expansion or is that just a class upgrade?
Well, it could be. I don't know. People, maybe it's just a separate SKU, and that's what this it's counting it as. I guess just in general though, like it looks like hopefully Diablo can have like a strong life ahead of it, because they did say basically Diablo 4 is the one to stay. I will say it's funny. I did see I didn't see a clip, but I think it was Schreier tweeting this out of like people were cheering when he mentioned Diablo 3, and then when they mentioned Diablo 4.
Immortal.
And then Immortal, and then it was just an uncomfortable silence.
We don't talk about Immortal.
So we just ignored Immortal. Let's not think about it. Moving on. This is something I don't think we're all too into. Hearthstone. And Noble has this Hearthstone expansion Showdown in the Badlands launches November 14th. Hearthstone Battlegrounds gets a co-op mode where you could team up with someone in 2024. I tried Hearthstone. It was just one of those things where it's like, this is a high quality game, just not for me personally. But it's exciting for Hearthstone fans. Like, I wouldn't say any of us are really Hearthstone experts. Moving on. The next thing, we got a big block of WoW, World of Warcraft. Okay, please. Do any of us care about World of Warcraft? I just right off the bat. That's not even like a mean thing. Like, I'm just wondering.
I
do, but
haven't
this-
played in 4 years.
I do,
Okay,
but
so
this is where my issues with BlizzCon come into play.
Okay, well, let's get into the article. Rebecca Valentine had this over at IGN. Today at BlizzCon, Blizzard announced that the upcoming 10th, 11th, and 12th expansions to its ongoing popular MMORPG World of Warcraft, all 3 of which will be contained in a larger narrative called World of Warcraft: The World Soul Saga. The first of these will be entitled World of Warcraft: The War Within, and it's coming next year. During the keynote, Blizzard brought out WoW legend Chris Metzen, who recently returned as executive creative director of the Warcraft franchise, which I'll say right now, I watched the clip of him announcing this. That dude has so much energy. He seems like a delight. He was very excited to talk about these. He called the expansion the culmination of the first 20 years of our storytelling that will vector us into the next 20 years of adventures. The 10th expansion and the first in the world Soul Saga, The War Within, will send adventurers inside Azeroth to subterranean kingdoms. There are a lot of extra details there, but the important thing is that that is the next one. It is coming out in 2024. The other two expansions had fewer details, but that's fine as they're farther off. Expansion 11 is simply entitled World of Warcraft Midnight and takes place in Azeroth's old world. And WoW's 12th expansion will be called World of Warcraft The Last Titan. And then there was also some details about World of Warcraft Classic, which will be doing Cataclysm. I didn't get much on that, but they are saying that Cataclysm will be coming to WoW Classic. A lot of info to go off of there. I'll just ask you, Dark, since this is when you became the hater.
It's not a hater. It's like everything they showed. I enjoyed everything they showed. It's more so an issue with Blizzard and BlizzCon itself, because the way that they paced this, right? They had Overwatch 2 started it off, right? And that was like 5-10 minutes. It was not long whatsoever. And then they had Diablo, which they zoomed past Diablo. I swear it was like 5 minutes long. And then everything else was like, it's not on console. I'm like, okay, you have these really cool games that I want to get into. Like everything that they showed with WoW, they were even saying, if you do the WoW, this is the time to get in. If you never played it before, I'm like, I would love to, if you let me.
Get a PC.
Like, I feel like I want to get away from that, especially with them underneath Microsoft now. Look at what Bethesda did with Elder Scrolls Online and how they handled their mobile games and Elder Scrolls Online. This is free money on the table, in my opinion. And like, is this? I don't know. It feels weird to me as a console player seeing all this cool stuff during BlizzCon, where like all the console stuff gets like pushed out in 3 seconds, and then they spent so long on WoW and all this, and we're not able to like experience it whatsoever.
I mean, Blizzard has been a PC company since its pretty much inception, so they're going to focus on their PC crowd. A majority of their fan base is a PC crowd, so this is not.
But not anymore though. They're underneath Microsoft.
I understand your sentiment, obviously, as someone who doesn't really like PC gaming. I am more of a console fan. That's the reason I've never really grown up with any Blizzard IPs. It's just really been Overwatch. And I guess it just comes down to like, it's hard to port WoW to console considering just how much there is there. I do think that, yes, it could work, as we saw with Elder Scrolls Online, and hopefully what we see with 14. I think eventually that will come in the future. But like, I feel like it's hard to fault BlizzCon for not focusing on console fan base, because at the end of the day, they're hardcore fans. This whole presentation is for their hardcore fans. Their hardcore fans are on PC.
So there are mods that allow you to use controller with WoW. It's very clunky, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think Microsoft is going to do anything with WoW? Like tie it into Game Pass, you get a discount, or
you're gonna get it on Game Pass. They're not gonna, so it's not gonna be like a day one.
They might.
Just WoW makes too much money. I can't imagine, because like, how much is a WoW subscription anyways? Because that's quite a bit of money
15.
in itself.
About 15
a month.
Wait, I have a question about WoW.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how this works. I know the Final Fantasy 14, you have the subscription on top of the expansions you have to buy. Is that like the same thing with WoW?
So,
okay, so
yeah.
I think what they should do is make it so that you get the subscription for free, but have them pay for the expansions.
Yeah, that's
And
what they
bring people
already
in.
do, don't they?
I'm not sure.
You subscribe, and then you only have to buy the latest expansion.
I think no, you have to buy each expansion.
No, you don't have
you
to
would
buy.
know more than
I did not. I didn't buy each expansion at all. I only bought one expansion, and I quit.
Legend over here.
I was able to get through all WoW, and then just buy the last expansion.
What was the last expansion you played?
Legion, which was like 5-6 years ago.
Legion? Oh yeah, okay, Legion. Now I remember. I guess I'll ask you, Navi, since you seem to have played all those other WoW expansions. Like, does WoW Classic I heard Cataclysm was big on. Does that interest you at all?
Okay. Hot take. I think WoW Classic is stupid, but I understand people have nostalgia. I understand people have nostalgia. So
we brought in the hot take today.
Yeah. The World of
But
Warcraft.
it's just they're just remaking it, and they're making it a little bit better, but it's still very 2000s, and that's what people like, I guess. I have no
Here's
interest in that.
so here's my thing. My counterpoint. I would kill for an Overwatch classic. I would be so down. It's like,
Oh,
yep,
okay,
it's like
okay,
2016
but
Overwatch.
Overwatch came out when everything was streamlined. You could find a match. So what WoW Classic is, you have to go. You don't have the instant. So in regular WoW, you can instantly join a dungeon. In WoW Classic, you can't
Mhm.
do that. You have to actively find people to go dungeon.
So
Which
it's basically WoW 2004 without like a lot of the
yes,
quality of life features like that.
yes. Well, they added some quality of life features, but they took away a lot of them that people think ruined the game for them because so like dungeons sometimes a random person gets a piece of armor that someone else needed, and that's one of the issues when you join with randoms. You can't work it out. You like, you get this, I get this, and I get that.
Interesting. I mean, I don't know enough about WoW to really have an opinion there.
Yeah, yeah. I understand why people like it. I was born after I played after everything was streamlined.
Streamline.
So
Okay.
me looking at the path, I'm just like that sounds not like a fun, not very fun.
It's a nostalgia thing at the end of the day. I think
Yeah,
a lot of the reasons I want Overwatch Classic is because of nostalgia. I really loved Overwatch in that first year. I will say, to do these expansions, this whole World Seeker saga. I already forgot the name. I'll be honest. This World Soul saga. Does that get you interested to jump back in? Like,
yeah.
is there
Oh,
anything that'll get you in?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love the idea of having 3 expansions tell an overall story.
That's the coolest part about it. I know people were like the last Titan. It's like Titan. I don't know what that means. Is the Titan hype?
Titan
Like,
was okay. I know something about that. Titan was a game that Blizzard was working on for years. I don't know what
oh,
kind of
that
game it
became
was. It was
Overwatch.
like another it was like another MMO or something, and then it was
It
just
was an
canceled.
MMO shooter.
They
Yeah,
actually
it was an
explained the
MMO shooter
Titan
that
thing
became Overwatch.
during the panel.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So when the guy came on stage, he was mentioning how we're finally gonna learn about what happens at the Titans. So I didn't play WoW, but I'm guessing this is something that he even said that they've been teasing the Titans and like talking about them in the background for who knows how long. So now people are gonna finally see what the Titans have been up to, on top of whoever this last Titan is.
That's exciting. I'm very excited for WoW fans. I don't think I'll. I'll be honest. I don't think I'll ever be able to jump into WoW because there's just so much. But I hope people who are into WoW enjoy what they can get with these expansions. And Chris Metzen, very passionate guy from what I can see.
Bring it to console. A whole
They're not
audience.
gonna
I'm
bring
sure
it to console.
they might. I feel like with Xbox they might do it.
They
That is
might.
easy money.
It's more likely.
They're going to have to do a Final Fantasy and rework everything though. That's
Yeah,
the
I mean,
issue.
it's
why
gonna
not?
be like,
That's money though.
well, yeah, it's a why
Or
not, but it's
or
also like that's
or they can actually
gonna
use
take money.
Classic for this. Since
Is
Classic
it
Like
just
doesn't
start
have
off with
as much
classic.
content, yeah, they don't have as much content, so it's much easier to convert that.
That's a
that'd be
good
pretty cool
idea.
too?
Yeah, just start off with WoW class console players like, hey, this is like you're playing World of Warcraft from 2004 for the first time, and then like go on from there, and eventually we'll get you the newer expansion, like the actual like retail WoW. It's exciting. Very much a lot of people are very happy with this opening ceremony. I do think it went on a bit slower than I feel like it could have been, but like it
I
seems
mean,
like it was
last year's
overall
was
like positive.
also really long. It was about this long,
There was one last year.
or the year
I thought
before,
that was
whenever the last one was.
2019.
The online one?
Well,
No,
yeah,
no,
it was on the.
there.
I just know all their opening ceremonies have been very long.
So there was
That's the only
BlizzCon Online.
complaint.
I real quick, like BlizzCon in 2019 I think what you're talking about, Moon, that's the one that was like close to this one in length. The difference is that was the one where they announced Overwatch 2, rest in peace, and Diablo 4. So like those were overall massive announcements in comparison to expansions. But yeah, Dark, what were you gonna say?
I guess the only real complaint is just like the pacing of everything, because they had Overwatch and Diablo in like the first 10 minutes, and then everything else was just like dragged out tremendously.
Did they show anything, or were they just talking?
They showed some stuff for Overwatch. They showed like some footage here and there, and then for Diablo they showed like a very brief trailer that shows next to nothing for the expansion. And then for the other games they showed all types of stuff.
I mean,
like,
it makes sense because
when they went into Hearthstone, it was bloated.
I mean, it just makes sense. Everything was focused on World of Warcraft because that's like their golden child.
It's their biggest IP for sure.
Yeah, it's coming back. It's speaking again.
Yeah, especially I know Dragonflight was very popular with the fans. A lot of people were very happy with how that turned out. So I could see a situation like that where the next expansions, like they very much want to like retain that fan excitement again. Because I know what was it, the Shadowlands one? That one a lot of people hated. This is just maybe like the biggest Shadowlands fan in the world is gonna like come in the comments and roast me alive, but I don't know. Okay.
No, you're right. That's when
okay. That's good to hear. Next news story is a sad one. We got some layoffs yet again in this industry. God bless. And coming from Bungie, a studio that you would think wouldn't need to lay off employees, but hey, here we are. There's a lot to go over here, a lot of articles, a lot of stuff. But I guess I'll start right now asking you guys, like, what are your thoughts just on the overall situation with Bungie?
Tell me.
First, when the news first dropped, I was like, oh, it's just more layoffs, right? And then more news dropped. And it kept coming. And it kept progressively worse. I was like, what is going on?
There's a lot to go over here. I guess it's best to just start off right now. Bungie sales kind of did a quick summary of the Bloomberg article from Jason Schreier. Around 100 employees impacted. Revenue at Bungie running 45% below projections for the year. I don't know how, but that's apparently it. Destiny 2 had weak player retention after Lightfall, and layoffs part of wider PlayStation money saving initiative. That's one I really want to focus in on later on as we get more into the weeds of everything. But I guess I'll just ask right off the bat, like this is rough. Just like 45%, that is a crazy number. Like I don't know how you're 45% off your projections. Like, what were your projections?
I had no idea that like Destiny was that much in the hole. Like I thought it had like a pretty substantial, dedicated fan base.
I've been telling everyone, Destiny has not been the same. Like Destiny 2 was a mistake, and even the devs come out and said this. But like, it has not been the same since Destiny 2 released.
It was the thing where it was an Activision thing they wanted to do as a way to relaunch Destiny. And I mean, it worked at its initial peak, and it just kind of didn't.
I mean, like, that's putting the idea out there, like, that maybe Destiny 3 will save them. Don't do this. I'm telling you now, it's not gonna work.
It's a tough situation overall. Like, it's one of those things where, like, this is what we've been talking about before. We had with our episode with Beefhammer about kind of the live service bubble. It's bursting. It's clear that things are just going to get worse before they get better. That's kind of my viewpoint. I think they will eventually get better. I'm an optimist. I think we will stop seeing all these layoffs every single week. But it's just going to, like, we're going to see this more and more as the year goes on into next year even.
Reports of Insomniac also laying off also true, or was that just a rumor?
That was just one guy.
Yeah.
It was one guy. But yeah, go for it with Destiny.
I don't think it's like a live service issue. This is very much a Bungie issue when we start getting into like the weeds of things, and just like the quality of the game itself. Like it's not like the game was good unless like people started. No, like they are actively fucking this stuff.
Another thing to the community.
The community sentiment towards that game, dude, you guys can hate that game. It is insane, like how negative it is.
It's similar to League of Legends. They keep playing, but they
There
keep
are no
on
happy
feeding the
League of
game
Legends
even
fans.
more.
I've never. It's insane. Like I just wonder, like, what Sony messed, or not Sony, sorry. What is Bungie messed up with this game that, like, I know it's a situation like it is really hard to get into as a new player. They removed content from the single player. I barely played Destiny, but all I know is that they removed content, which is fucking insane to me that a game developer can do that. And everyone was just like, yeah, that's cool. It's like, guys, they're removing stuff from the game, and that's a W.
Somebody, it was just like a random post online, but somebody showed like their experience of wanting to get into Destiny, and they were on Steam, so they showed Destiny 2, and then all the expansions, and it costed them $502 to get into the game and catch
Oh,
up.
you have to buy every expansion.
Yeah, you have to buy every single one.
Every
You
No,
can't
well,
expansion.
buy the latest one.
that's their first problem. They have to make any previous
$502 to
They
get
have
expansion
like
into the game.
free.
six. Like I just I just don't know how you get in as a new player, because it's clear
Well,
the
You
issue
don't-
with Destiny. You don't
I know.
exactly like. Go for it, Navi.
I know the latest expansion, the community absolutely hated it.
Oh yeah, they were really negative towards that expansion, Lightfall, as it was called. That one, I did not see a single person praising that expansion. I do. There's a lot of extra stuff. One from here from Paul Tassi. Paul Tassi, by the way, shout outs to him. He's been really cataloging a lot of this. One, he kind of had two tweets here. New info about the Bungie layoffs per a source. This was on the 31st, by the way. The layoff decisions came directly from Bungie management, not Sony. This is not about Sony replacing Bungie employees with their own people. Many employee benefits, though not health insurance, only last until the end of the month if you're let go. Laying people off on the 30th means a single additional day of coverage, which that is
Like
evil.
criminal.
That is
Dumb.
actually just evil. Many employees had unvested shares as a result of the Sony purchase. These shares would be received based on staying with the company for a certain number of years following the sales. But those shares revert to Bungie if you leave, even if you're fired. What the fuck? This may be part of a wider cost cut at Sony in multiple areas, but as an independent entity who gets cut, the timing and terms as above are Bungie's decision. To clarify an earlier point, health insurance lasts until severance ends, other benefits end today. Man, a lot of those things. Like,
they
I want to talk.
how. Oh, you can go.
Go for it.
Yeah,
go
you
for
go
it.
first.
I
So-
want to mention. You go.
Okay, so they mentioned how they themselves decided who are they gonna lay off and stuff. And at first it's like, oh man, I guess the lower people are gonna get laid off. You know, that's how it typically goes. And then you start seeing the people who actually got laid off.
Oh my god.
One of them was I forgot his name, but he's a
Michael
very famous composer.
Salvatore.
Yes. If you don't know this guy's
That
resume,
is insane.
he's been at
composer,
Bungie
right?
since his founding. Since the
Yep.
founding of Bungie. Meaning he's worked on every single Halo title. And contribute if like you don't have to like Halo. You can hate it. The music in that game is iconic and legendary. If this guy got fired and let go with this resume, nobody is safe.
Him and Marty O'Donnell were like very much like the co-pilots of the Halo OST, and like what made those games have such legendary OSTs. And if you ask any Destiny fan, I'll say like, hey, what's one thing you like about Destiny? It's like, oh, the music. So it's like you're laying off the one person who apparently did something good. So
Yeah, so
that's kind of
if you look at his resume too, he worked on all of the famous expansions for Destiny. Like the Taken King and all the good ones that had like the most player attention, he worked on them.
Yeah. Yeah, I also heard they removed an art director that was also like very influential to Bungie back in the Halo days. So, I mean, if I'm 343, I'm like, hang on, let's
This is easy
look at
picking.
scooping some people
Oh.
up. Yeah, it's like, hey, you guys want to go back to Halo? And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, if you get Michael Salvatore again, oof, that is.
We won't fire you over nothing.
We won't fire you for no reason. I do want to go into the Sony thing. There was a lot of like kind of arguments about like Sony's involvement and everything. I will. So very much from what we can tell, it is very much Sony basically went to Bungie and said, "Hey, we're doing cost cutting initiative. You guys haven't been like producing the revenue we need. You need to like find some ways to cut costs." they said cut costs, and Bungie was like, let's do layoffs. So I think I can give some understanding to like putting like a lot of some of the blame on Sony for maybe not like coming in and like maybe outright telling them it's like, hey, we told you, we didn't say layoffs, like something like that. But I also think this is mostly on Bungie management,
Oh, yeah.
especially like management, because it is fucking insane to me
Well, it's
that
also
these guys.
like Sony wouldn't have come up to them if Destiny was making the money it was supposed to, with a 45% not projected sales and retention, the terrible retention. It's like, obviously Sony's gonna look at them like, guys, you guys are kind of flopping over there. Can you please keep our deficit down?
Exactly.
And then Bungie's response, yeah, the one guy who was doing like the only thing that people liked about the Destiny, yeah, we gotta cut him loose.
Speaking of Bungie's response, we got some responses. Apparently, so IGN got a hold of basically like an internal memo. Paul Tassi went ahead and summarized everything. Parsons, who is the CEO of Bungie, said, I cannot believe this quote. Parsons said, the right people have been kept for Destiny 2.
What? Did he really say that?
I
Yeah, he did.
swear to you. He said it.
What?
That is actually fucking insane. Employees
The
told
higher
players. Oh, go for it.
The higher ups at Bungie really believe that they're gonna make back all this money by firing the people that they fired.
Employees told players sentiment I'm low. Employees begged for changes to get players back. Final Shape pre-orders, which is the next expansion, lower than expected, and many upset about Bungie's big, costly new HQ, which is just funny in and of itself. It's like, what? You guys bought a new HQ, and you're like, oh man, all right, we got to find some way to get the money back from this big new HQ. And then they actually made a response of themselves. Paul Tassi, yet again, summarizing this. Final Shape will deliver, they say. No delay announced, no delay denied. We'll get into those delays in a second. 650 Bungie employees working on the Final Shape and episodes, building a bridge we plan to build to take us all out of this darkness and into the light. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be professional, but that is the funniest quote I have ever seen in my life.
That just reeks of PR speak. Ugh.
The funny thing is, that's like that very much ties into Destiny, because Destiny plays with darkness and light a lot. But given the situation, it's hilarious.
But yeah, you don't talk about that. You don't use metaphors like goofy shit like that on a fucking. Yeah, we were announcing layoffs. You guys want to hear this cool knock knock joke? By the way, it's like this is not the time, man. I mean, and then Forbes himself, Paul Tassi, made an article. Highly recommend reading the whole thing. I'm just going to take some snippets. It's a really good article, kind of delving deeper into everything. Management said other levers were looked at to avoid layoffs. When employees asked if one lever was executive compensation, they were told no, that it would not happen at the company. Update, post-publication, Bungie responded saying that CEO Pete Parsons and some other executives previously forfeited annual bonuses before the layoffs, but staff was not informed this happened until yesterday. The sum total of the bonuses given up is not clear, which, I mean, like, I can't imagine. Like, I feel like you could have given up maybe a bit more money to avoid 100 layoffs, including firing your biggest composer. But hey, that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. Internally, really.
Guy.
Yeah, really. Get some guy on Fiverr or something. I don't know.
For real.
Internally, really, no one is blaming Sony for this, even management. We know this about that. This is actually the more important detail. Some employees were told that if Sony buyout did not happen, that with the current Destiny 2 performance, the studio itself would have been in jeopardy if they were still independent. I mean, do you guys believe that? I very much do, considering like it seems like
I
every
wouldn't originally have, but after hearing just how bad Destiny is now doing, then I would. Yeah, now I believe it.
This goes back into the acquisition talk, because people have, especially like as of late, people just think, oh, Microsoft can go buy who this, that, the third. You very much have to be selling. That you can't just go pick up anybody. You have to be selling yourself to be bought by somebody. Meaning that Bungie knew what was going on, and they're like, okay, we need somebody to pick us up, and they went with Sony.
Exactly. Yeah. Navi, you had something to say?
What do you think Sony's reaction to this is? They literally bought them for live service games, and they can't even keep their live service games up.
I mean,
that's
again,
like the great irony of it.
Sony,
you guys can
yeah, go for it.
You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Sony put Bungie with the Last of Us team, and that's like the whole reason fact?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was
so
about to say.
exactly.
They bought them for their live service expertise.
with their expertise, and apparently they can't get their own live service working. This is so
You made a
fucking
mistake,
insane.
please.
This
This
is
may just
so
be
weird.
like the prelude to like a giant fall of Sony, of them just like going on hard onto live service games, buying Bungie to make sure they all go well, and they just come all crashing down.
Spider-Man 2, baby. That's
And
carrying Sony,
and
baby.
didn't Sony just cancel a few of their live service games?
Not really canceled, but like it's clear they're
Put
like
in the
kind
back
of,
burner.
Yeah, put on
yeah.
the
The
back burner.
Factions was on ice. I know the Deviation Games Studios one. That one's not doing nearly as well as
Foam Stars is doing
reported.
great.
Okay, we can ignore Foam Stars. It's interesting. There was a lot more, but I also this quote is funny. Employees are extremely angry with leadership now. You think?
Just a wee bit.
And then finally, Tom Ivan of VGC has this. Bungie has reportedly delayed Destiny 2's new expansion and Marathon. Destiny 2, the final shape expansion, was announced in August when it was given a February 27, 2024 release date. However, according to Bloomberg sources, the expansion was recently delayed until next June, pushing it out of the parent company Sony's current fiscal year. Bungie's next full game, Marathon, was announced in May for PS5, Series X, and PC. While a launch window wasn't confirmed, Bloomberg sources claimed that the sci-fi PvP extraction shooter has been delayed to 2025, suggesting it was previously targeting a 2024 release. I mean, do you guys all believe those? Like, they seem to say like, oh no, there haven't been any delays. I think it's clear
It's
that
PR
these
speak.
things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that gif of like nothing to see here and the fire is going on in the background, and
I mean, there has been. This wasn't exactly confirmed, or not confirmed. It was confirmed, but like this is like a game early in development. Apparently, they did like a test for Marathon and like invited a lot of like Escape from Tarkov players, and they basically asked, "It's like, hey, do you guys want to play the game again?" And nobody raised their hand. So
That's
excited for Marathon.
surprising.
That it
Because
is a game early.
one thing Bungie's good at is the shooting.
Yes, 100%. They are the masters of like making a game that feels good to shoot in.
oh yeah, Destiny felt great to play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the
that's right.
multiplayer, one
It's
of the
just-
best multiplayer games I played.
Yeah, so the thing is, when it comes to multiplayer, if you ask anyone who plays Destiny, they're gonna say Bungie has not updated the multiplayer forever. It's the same, like everything from like years back. Like,
And that's
I
they
guess
they stopped all around.
I guess I'll ask kind of like as a closing out to pretty sad story. Like what can Bungie do to bounce off of this? What needs to change over there to hopefully prevent layoffs from this in the future and hopefully keep Bungie that name alive?
Destiny 3.
You need to listen to the.
Okay, I actually agree.
Okay, so
I
I disagree
Go
because
ahead, go ahead.
one Destiny 1 was like phenomenal. Destiny 2 killed everything. That's what that was the start of the downfall. Was Destiny 2? You gonna do this again? I don't think you're
They
gonna
need
survive.
they need to do a hard reset to get
100%.
players back in and new players.
What they can
My
do,
view.
they can pull a Final Fantasy 14. Because 14 did that. He just like, you know what? We're gonna take the
Yeah.
same. It was the same game, but he just like
But
reset it, and he's like, we're doing this
but
fresh.
they didn't have like 20 expansions at that time.
You know what
That's
He was
another
able
thing
to do
too.
that.
You know what they could do that would be very smart in my opinion? Here's what you do. Final Shape, release that kind of as the final expansion for Destiny 2. Here's what you do. Destiny 3 announce and say, hey, Destiny 3 at launch, all the expansions are playable. From Destiny 2, all of it is playable. The main campaign that we removed from the game, now that's playable in Destiny 3, and you get a new campaign for Destiny 3. That is going to get new people in. That's one of the big things that they're struggling with right now is that they are like, yeah, we want to maintain our hardcore fan base. Even your hardcore fan base is starting to wane off, and you're not getting enough new people into the game because your game is so impossible to navigate. It is. There's been so many weird shit that it's like I can't begin to understand how a new person could try to get into Destiny 2. And I just think if you do a hard said with Destiny, hey, all that content from Destiny 2 is playable now, you are going to get so many people in. That's what they need.
How do the higher ups at Bungie feel when somebody comes in, like, hey, I'm looking to get into Destiny 2, how do I do that? And you hit them for a $500 price tag. You know you can do a $500. You can buy an entire fucking console with that. Like,
Exactly.
They-
nobody see
not
how
worth it.
ridiculous that sounds?
They also need to change that to how Final Fantasy 14 works, where all the previous expansions are free, and then the new one you have to buy.
Exactly.
That's true. They also owe Sony a fucking apology because Jesus Christ.
It's like we spent all this money
Yeah,
on you to buy your company, and now you're doing this to us.
Also, we agree. Like leadership, there needs to be some change in that executive thing, because there's
Yep.
clearly like those people do not know what they're doing. I did hear this idea get floated around. If Sony does not, they are a very independent entity from Sony. But if Sony was able to, would they just like remove like people and then put in their own people in? Is that a possibility? I kind of
I-
doubt it because they are so
it's in-
separate.
It's
So
in
the
the
way that they did
contract,
it-
isn't it?
I don't think they can do that.
They can't
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
the
It's in
thing.
the, I
can't.
believe so.
Well, but something that is in the contract, both companies, both Sony and both Bungie, can pay a small fee and divest from one another. So if they keep fucking up, Sony's just like, you know what, we're tired of you. Just drop.
So you know what? Here, take 500. It's literally that meme. It's like I'll give you $5 to fuck off.
I don't know what the exact amount of money is, but that is something that's inside the contract.
You know what should happen? Break off from
Go for it.
Sony, get 343 to buy them, and then you make Halo great again.
You
Or
this
That's gonna
current
be the
Bungie?
funniest story.
That's the problem. It's like, no, that's never going to happen because most of the Bungie people who made Halo great aren't there anymore.
They actually got picked up by 343, most of them. That's the funny part.
Yeah, it's just that with the 343, their issue was leadership. They didn't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the leaders that could handle the development of those games. And then you get Pierre Hines, who apparently saved Master Chief Collection, and now is
Yeah, he
kicking
did.
ass with what's it called, Infinite. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, just let this guy lead the next Halo game. Like, apparently he's good at this. It's gonna be overall sad situation. Hopefully, all those people can bounce back, especially Michael Salvatore. Like 343, I better see on the job listings. Like they should have posted the next day after the layoffs. It's like, hey, we're hiring new composers, some art people. You know, if you
Phil
guys
just go pay him a house visit at this point. Like,
exactly. Like Phil Spencer shows up. It's like, yo, bro, we need you again. Halo 3 ODST, that OST, that's too fire. We need you to come
that
back.
ODST alone is a reason for any dev to hire him. This man worked on every single Halo game.
I'm not the biggest ODST fan, but oh my god, that OST is so fucking good. That soundtrack is unreal. Moving on. We get to talk about a fun story. This is currently one of my favorite stories that I always try to update on because I just find it so funny. Sega, one of my favorite game developers, says
Great
development
developers.
of its first, quote, super game is progressing steadily. This goes from Tom Ivan over at VGC. The company plans to release the blockbuster title by March 2026. Announced in May 2021, the Japanese publisher Super Game Pro. I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard to be professional. but
Really
Super
can't say the
Game
word
is-
super game.
It's so funny. It is so funny. Super Game. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, you know what?
Super
Let's take
game.
a cook.
If you were
Super
to make
game.
a super game, what would it be?
Make it Sonic Frontiers 2. If it's revealed that the Super Game is a Sonic game, I
Oh my
will actually
Sonic
cry. I will
Frontiers
genuinely cry.
$800,000 budget is insanity.
Hey,
Oh no, we have the budget. Hey God. From what I saw, oh here we go. In November 2021, Sega said that it would consider investing up to 100 billion yen, then $882 million over the next 5 years to achieve its Super Game ambition.
Isn't
And
this a
they're
game that
basically
Microsoft is
providing
helping
an
them work on
update.
too?
You can go ahead.
No, that was a.
You
I was
asked the
asking if
question.
I was
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Isn't this the
What were
game
you
that Microsoft is helping them work on with like the cloud?
No, that's a different one.
Damn,
That's
just
a
trying to
different
imagine.
one.
That's gonna work.
Isn't it?
didn't it have to do something with Jet Set Radio?
You really think they're gonna spend $800 million on a Jet Set Radio reboot?
Just the radio,
I hope.
It's coming back. It's coming back. I'm 100 because it was part of the Persona 3.
It was leaked.
leak.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know it's
So
coming
yeah,
back.
some kind of new entry remake is being done.
Jet Set Radio is real. One of interesting wording change is that they used to call this the Super Game Project, and now it's just the Super Game.
Super
I-
game.
I'll
What?
tell you right now, it had something to do with NFTs originally. I believe that.
Oh, I'm
Like,
sure.
This game lines up with the release date of the speculated release date of Persona 6. I'm just saying.
No, knew you were gonna
No,
say that.
no.
It's not. Persona 6 is 2025. Right?
It's also that's
Actually,
Atlas, and there's no mention of Atlas here.
Atlas is Sega though.
Wait, hang on. 2026 for Persona 6? Is that really the speculated release date? Because
We've gotten a bunch of
I was
leaks.
expecting
There's
2024.
that one leaker who's no, it's not. There's that one leaker who's been leaking Persona pretty heavily and everything related to it. They have a couple Persona spin-off games in the works after Tactica and Reload. So we're still a ways off. Like I think they have like a game where they said that all the characters are gonna be in it, and there's
That's
like
just
a Mario
Persona
Party
6.
type. Yeah, hopefully.
Wait, okay, so you're looking me in the eyes and you're telling me Persona 6 is coming out after GTA 6.
Yes.
Yeah,
I hate
that's
Atlas.
actually
I
happening.
hate Atlas. They're a
GTA 6 is coming out next year.
shit company.
Next
I'll be
Yeah,
holiday.
real with you
GTA 6
guys.
is most likely next year.
I'll be real with you guys. I hate Atlas. I hate Sega. I think these companies suck. They're stupid. I can't take it anymore.
Nah, let them cook, bro.
Hey,
cook.
but
Let them cook. It's Persona
At
6.
least
Let them cook.
Atlas released like 5 games in between.
That's true. that barely.
Those games. Listen, I was about to say no one's foaming at the mouth for Persona 5 Tactica, and I'm stuck here with the two
Hey,
people who are, so never mind.
Hey,
Oh, the
That game
three
looks-
people!
apparently
Okay,
I
there's
don't
Persona 5
exist.
Tactica, and then there's 3
No,
Reload. So,
you were one of the two people. I didn't realize Navi also cared.
That game looks
Damn it.
amazing.
The game looks amazing.
I hate that
I'll
art
beat
style
it day
so
one.
much. Listen, okay, it looks fun, but that art style makes me so angry.
It's adorable.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
not
not
a
into
game.
it. I'm not into it. I don't like the chibi
Speaking of
art
which,
style.
since
Okay,
this
thank
is
you,
even brought up,
Navi.
this is not a news topic, but it's very late. But it is getting DLC, and said leaker also leaked the entirety of the DLC. And how that'll play out. So
yeah, that's not surprising.
Man is breaking into Atlas Studios and getting everything.
it's a lady apparently.
Yeah, that one's dead. God bless her soul. Okay. Genuine question. Over under. It's a Sonic game.
No, that's not.
No.
No.
But okay, imagine if it was though. Imagine reading that. You wake up in the morning and you see the headline. Sega has announced their super game is Sonic Frontiers 2 or something like that. How hard would
It's gonna be a Sonic Adventure 3. That's the
Hate
only
laugh.
thing that
I
could
will-
be.
yeah, Sonic Adventure 3, I would be crying of laughter. I'd be like, this is the greatest news I've ever seen.
Okay, but what if they show it and
I'll-
look incredible?
I'll be crying of happiness because I want to.
Yeah, what if they show it and the game's like fucking
Oh, yeah.
phenomenal?
Sure, it looks incredible, but it's just funny. He's hyping up Super Game as Sonic Adventure 3. Am I the only one who finds Super Game funny? Like, it's just
I mean,
such
it's
a
funny.
funny term.
But
It
I'm
is
so
funny, but at the
confused
same
by it.
time-
Like, they haven't explained what makes it a super game compared to just a game with a big
Maybe
budget.
it's an MMO.
Yeah, that's what
Pretty
I've
cool,
been
actually.
thinking. Maybe it's Fantasy
MMO.
Star Online 3.
Oh, okay, that would actually hang on. Fantasy
No, here we
Star
go.
with a
Here's how it's a
would
super
make
game.
$1 budget.
Wait. It's a super game because it's Fantasy Star Online 3 and it's VR. So we're getting right into Sword Art Online territory.
No. Okay, we're going too far. We're going too far.
If you die in the game.
You die in the game, you die in real life.
This sucks. Oh god. I do actually believe that theory. I think it's an MMO. I think that's the only thing that would have a budget on. This is actually
Sonic
like, this is a
MMO, let's go,
budget on
boys.
this. This
Sonic
is a budget
MMO.
on the same size as fucking what's it called? GTA 6. What that's rumored to have.
I'm
Which,
just
you
waiting
know
for them
what?
to explain what makes it a super game.
It's literally just gonna be a normal game.
It's gonna be a
Either
normal
over
ass
under.
game.
Over under day one Game Pass.
Under.
Nah. Well, it depends what
So-
it is.
Unless they're bought by Microsoft by then, which I
True.
can hope not. But no, I doubt it.
Phil's gonna come out on stage like, we bought Sega and we're super excited that their super game is coming to Game Pass.
No. He buys Sega.
No,
He sees what the super game. He sees what the super game is, and he's like, what the fuck is this piece of shit? It just cancels
No.
it.
You know what the
ES
funny thing would be is like he buys it, he sees what it is, and he's like, I just bought you guys just to see what the super game is.
All right, that's all I wanted. You
So
guys can leave.
given that Microsoft and Phil knew about like GTA 6's exact release date, I would assume that he's seen that game, and in retrospect also seen the super game. Whatever it is, we've seen it.
You know, it's like it goes back to what we kind of talked about on Slice of Anime for a moment, where there was a board meeting about this. Someone was in a board meeting with a group of directors sitting around a table. Someone pitched this and they're like, this is what I call a super game. And he convinced that whole table.
The thing is, like,
I'll
we don't
tell
know
you
what
what-
it is.
I'll
Maybe
tell you-
it is a super game.
I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what happened. A guy walks in and they're like, we need to figure out how to save Sega. And then someone just comes out with like a graph that shows GTA 5 sales, and he just points at it and goes, we do this. And they're like, let's do it. Let's go. Okay, Super Game Initiative. Let's get this
GTA?
started. I'm sorry?
Yakuza GTA?
And listen.
Give it
What
to
if
me.
Sonic Adventure 3 is a GTA game? It's a
I would buy
sandbox
Sonic
where you
with
can drive
guns.
cars.
Shadow
What
the
if
Hedgehog
Persona
2?
6
Wait a
is a
minute.
Shadow the
GTA game?
Hedgehog.
That's what I said. And then I got shut down.
Listen,
You know, we're
You
gonna
got
all be
shut
eating our
down.
words when Sega actually proves us that it is a super game.
That's
yeah,
what I'm
we
saying,
see
what
it,
if
and
it's
it's like the
actually good?
greatest thing ever. We're like,
I
oh my
hope
god,
so. I would
that's
love
the
it.
only. That's the only thing it could be.
It's gonna be
a super
Mario
game.
and Sonic at the Olympic Games.
Well, as much as I love that news story, we got to move on to another Japanese company that I actually like, Capcom, who says they have a major unannounced title planned before March 24. This is from Andy Robertson over at VGC. Excuse me. Capcom is planning to release a major unannounced title by the end of its current fiscal year, which ends in March 2024. It said that's according to a Japanese Q&A section published alongside its latest earning results this week, in which it mentions the unannounced title in relation to how it intends to reach its year-end sales target. Considering its aspirations for the unannounced game, it's possible that it's related to one of Capcom's two biggest franchises, Resident Evil or Monster Hunter. So right now, we don't know what this game is.
They're
I'll
they're
just
taking a page
It's
out
not
of the
Resident Evil.
Nintendo playbook and doing
Yeah,
like a
I'll
super short marketing cycle.
Right now, it's not RE.
I don't think it's
Monster
RE.
Hunter.
Yeah,
It has
I
to be
agree.
Monster Hunter.
I think it's
When
gonna
did
be
they show
Monster.
this game? The Game Awards? Like, you
That's
already
the
got a
only
time.
venue.
It's the only thing that makes sense with how much time we have left between. It's already November. This thing needs to be out by March. You need at least a month of marketing of some kind. So yeah, it's
It'd be Day
either
one Game Pass Shadow Drop.
hell yeah.
I think for sure it's gonna be a Monster Hunter game because that is one of their biggest franchises. They expect this thing to be a massive deal. I
Running
wonder.
out of time, bro.
World 2 makes
Like,
sense.
World 2 is the situation. It's just that marketing cycle is weird. It's like because this is like them reconfirming. It's like, yeah, it's gonna come out like before the financial year. It's like, when are you gonna announce it? We don't know what this is because like you see a lot of their other games, they announce those like at least in a lot of cases a year before they're about to come out. And in the case of this game, it's like we're gonna be a few months out. Like as Moon said, this is very much a Nintendo style marketing cycle.
Could it be a new IP? But no, it has to sell one. They said
Yeah,
it's
they
gonna
said
sell one
it's
million.
their franchise.
I could see it possibly being a
Dino Crisis.
spin-off of a popular franchise. Like it's still connected to like Resident Evil
That's
or
it,
Monster
yeah.
Hunter or something, but it's still like a spin-off of some kind.
Operation Raccoon City remake. Let's
Pretty
go.
much. Operation
spin-off
Raccoon
makes
City
sense.
2.
The thing
That
is,
game
if it's
sucked.
spin-off, it's like this is a major unannounced title. So I don't think this is like the type of game that's gonna fly under the radar. I think this is gonna be something much bigger than we expect.
See, that's why it leads
Okay.
me to believe it's a spin-off of one of their big franchises. Because if it's like, you know, let's just say for example Resident Evil 9, they would announce that way in advance and make a big deal out of it. But the fact they're being so quiet about it makes me think. But even the fact that even they're calling it a big game, still just says, okay, it's tied to something we're all familiar with, and they're positive it's going to sell well because it's tied to a major popular franchise. So that's why I'm leaning on the spin-off of some kind.
We just got a fuck ton of Resident Evil content this year, so
What if it's a remake of Monster Hunter? One of the old games they have.
Well, they don't need to remake those
Yeah.
because it's like you would rather just play the new games.
you know what it is?
True.
I'm telling you right
But
now.
nostalgia.
Exoprimal came out, and they seen the outcry for Dino Crisis. They were like, we're doing Dino Crisis.
No.
That would be big. That would be
big.
Yeah.
I will never understand Exoprimal. Just call it that. Like, I don't know why they didn't just do that, because nobody's talking about that game anymore. I'll tell you that right now. It wasn't even that
maybe
bad.
it's for the best that they didn't call it Dino Crisis because they didn't do this.
Yeah, true.
Game Pass
would, yeah.
that game.
Maybe
That
they
wasn't a bad
knew
game.
that it would be. Oh, it was bad?
It wasn't
like
a
it.
bad game.
Oh, it wasn't bad.
It was fine.
That's the problem. It had
Yeah,
like its one catch and that's it. Like it's a one-note game.
I'm excited to see it. I saw a lot of people say it would be Devil May Cry, but it's like the director
There's
of Devil
no
May
way.
Cry 5 is busy. Like he's working
Not
on
only
Dragon's
that,
Dogma 2.
Devil May Cry is a big deal. They're not gonna randomly shadow drop a Devil May Cry game like that.
Now it could be a Devil May Cry spin-off of some kind.
To what?
Or a
Play
remake
as
of
like
the
Fish?
or a remake of the first game, because that game does not play
That
well.
would be yes.
that would be really
I
good.
would be so down for it. Because Devil May Cry 1, that game. I'm sorry, that is not a very good
Yeah,
game
it's
nowadays.
I hate it.
It's
It's
aged.
influential,
It's-
but I do not like playing it.
Yeah.
Like the series doesn't get good until 3.
Actually, that's a good idea because they've really started doing this trend where you start remaking their older titles and it does really well. From Devil May Cry 1 remake, and like they start doing it leading up to the eventual reboot of Devil May Cry. It could be really good.
There is another franchise. I'm the only one who cares about it. Ace Attorney. They
That
could
might be
very well brand new. That's the new Ace Attorney game that's been rumored for a while, but I think that's going to be a bit later on in the year because they already have
You want to know why
Justice
it's not going to be the new Ace Attorney? Because we
it
have
is-
the Apollo Justice re-release
exactly.
coming right out.
Apologize. So it's like, why would you? That's like 2 months in between for 3. You got to play
Ace
all
Attorney
3
style.
Apollo Justice games. Sorry, Navi.
Would Ace Attorney sell 1 mil?
They sell well for
Fast.
visual novels.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
fast.
I don't think they
Yeah,
want. I
fast.
don't think keeping a secret Ace Attorney game is what they would do.
Listen, us
Mega
Ace
Man
Attorney
reboot.
fans-
Let's go.
Stop! Don't do it.
A
They
3D
revived Mega Man Legends.
A
Oh,
3D
God.
Mega Man could.
I would be so.
It's the type of game where like you don't need a big marketing cycle if it is Mega Man.
I mean,
This game
Yeah,
gotta be good though.
okay. My viewpoint of Mega Man is like, don't give me Mega Man until you're just doing Mega Man X9. Like, if you're gonna do a new Mega Man game, do X9. That's all I want.
No, do
or
a
if
a
you wanna
Mega
get really
Man
crazy.
Ratchet and Clank style.
Mega. Okay, listen,
that will go hard.
You're going out.
Wow.
No, they revived Battle
The
Network.
greatest game ever made.
They revived Darkstalkers. You ain't ready for that one, let me tell you.
Sorry, major franchise. Listen,
Yeah.
Darkstalkers is an awesome franchise. I respect it, but like, come on, it's not a.
If they give it the loving care, it'll pop off, bro. Darkstalkers fits in the trenches.
I wish. Interesting, to say the least. Moving on. We got some
Since
news
we
on
are
Microsoft.
moving on right now, do we
Go
want
for
to just briefly do the breaking news that Benj put in chat?
I'm not talking about that. That's stupid. We're moving on.
I thought the later part was kind of funny.
Dwarfheim is going offline. Oh wait, I didn't read the later part. At the end of November, and the single player mode can't be saved because nobody has the source. Okay, that is pretty funny.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
That's from PC Gamer. If you guys want to check that article out, that's a pretty funny news story. But moving on, this comes from BGC yet again. They've been really popping off this episode. Microsoft has started blocking unauthorized Xbox accessories. This comes from Tom Ivan over at VGC. As spotted by Windows Central, a growing number of players using unauthorized third-party accessories has received an error message from the moment you cannot connect an unauthorized accessory and receive error code numbers. You'll have 2 weeks to use the accessory, after which time it will then be blocked from use within the console, according to Xbox's support site. Now, VGC actually got an update. In a statement issued to VGC, Microsoft said unauthorized accessories can, quote, compromise the gaming experience. Microsoft and other licensed Xbox hardware partners, accessories are designed and manufactured with quality standards for performance, security, and safety. Unauthorized accessories can compromise the gaming experience on Xbox consoles. Gamers may receive a pop-up warning that their accessory is unauthorized. Eventually, the unauthorized accessory will be blocked from use to preserve the console gaming experience. So this very much is like, hey, we're not doing third-party controllers anymore, which I think is fucking ridiculous.
I think it's as bad as people are making it sound, though.
Yeah,
'Cause
most
I get
people
why
don't
they-
have.
Yeah,
third-party
most people don't
controllers.
have these, but it is a problem for the fighting game
Fighting
community.
Yeah,
games.
so the
That's my
main
main.
issue that
But-
this for fighting game community, you need to fix that. Just like you gotta take a pause on that, fix the fighting game community.
But doesn't
just in general,
PlayStation control the fighting game community? It isn't. They
No,
don't
they
use
just have
They
they
Xbox
just
have
own
thing. This
Evo.
whole-
No,
It
so
is, it's
okay,
not
so the
Evo.
deal with PlayStation is very much like a lot of fighting games are played with on PlayStation,
Yeah,
but you know what isn't? Killer Instinct.
instinct.
That's gonna really kill the idea of a Killer Instinct competitive scene coming back if they make a new game. If they make a new game. This is I don't understand why you do it. Like, yeah, sure, you can argue like, oh, people don't use third-party controllers. It's like people still do. Like, I know a lot
So
of
it's
people
not
who
just
have a lot of
with
third-party controllers.
controllers. It goes into
Well, yeah.
cheating devices as well, which is like a big issue with Call of Duty and stuff. And they've been pushing this narrative. Like, I'm not sure if you guys realize, but the Xbox has a new reporting system now. They've been pushing this whole idea of like trying to make things more, I guess how do you say, like uptight and protected. So I feel like this is primarily for cheating devices, and like even
That's the
from like
thing,
taking
though.
out most third-party controllers, like Power A is still really cheap, good brand. Like there's still good options. Like they're taking away everything. They just really need to fix the fighting game scene.
My issue really just comes down to the fact that it's like I understand that viewpoint of like, oh, removing like cheating devices when it comes to like Call of Duty and like maybe keyboard and mouse and whatnot. But like even then, I feel like you could have thought of a better workaround than, oh, all like third-party controllers gone. Like that's just ridiculous.
Well, it's the authorized ones. That's the thing.
Authorized, but like, okay, let's say they make a new Killer Instinct, and they're like, yeah, we made a new fighting game controller and joypad and everything, and then the fighting game community gets it. It's like, wow, this sucks. I would rather use like the other one. It's just like, I don't know. In my opinion, like, it just feels like a weird thing to go for a full blanket all third-party controllers and like accessories are banned.
Can you use you can't use third-party controllers on PlayStation, right?
No, you can't.
You can.
That's they use like fight pads and whatnot.
This really affects the fighting game community more than anybody else.
So
Man, did my voice go through there? I don't know if it did.
yeah.
Okay. It's just
In other words,
tough.
Power A, but I'm be making a monopoly on Xbox controller.
Powerade.
Well, the thing is, though,
reading
they're
this
just
as-
saying unauthorized, and so companies can get like the authorization from
Yeah.
Xbox.
if they can get if the authorization process is simple and clean without much difficulty, then I won't be as bothered. This is just going to very much be like a thing over time. That's kind of what I'm sitting here. But I just like off the rip, it's just out of nowhere. I feel like they could have announced this. I don't know. Just
Ended
burst.
off real quick with this.
Moving on. Let's talk machine games. Studio that I'm a big fan of. Noble has this over on Twitter. Machine Games opens a new studio in Sundsvall, Sweden. The new office will be up and running next year with full staffing expected for 2025. So, like you can say, like there's not much to this new story, but I just found it interesting to see like Machine Games very much expanding. Obviously, they're working on that new Indiana Jones game with Todd Howard at the helm, and now we have very much a man can dream. I want Wolfenstein 3 more than anything. I'll ask, like, do you guys think Wolfenstein 3 is in development? And also, like, I guess I'll also ask, like, what this new studio is. Like, what do you guys see this as more of a support role, or do you see them as kind of like a Arcane Austin type deal, where it's very much a
Maybe
separate
both.
entity?
A bit of both.
They probably
Maybe
are
this is the
support for like the Indiana Jones, and I'm sure Wolfenstein 3 is in like pre-production in some form, and maybe another side thing because this is way after Xbox bought them. So this is clearly a Microsoft maneuver saying, "Hey, can we open up another one of you so you can get some support, hire some more people, maybe do like the obvious example that we're always going to be using now is when Obsidian made Grounded. It's like, here's a small side project that you can do for us and put on Game Pass. So they're going to work on their big stuff. They're also probably going to shoot out a couple small games. But yeah, I think it's mostly a combination of support and just hire more people so we can shoot out more Game Pass stuff.
This is me speculating, but when Xbox leaked their own documents to the FTC, one of the things that popped up from Bethesda's side was more licensed games, like unannounced licensed titles. I feel like this might be just for that. It's like, we got Indiana Jones, we got whatever the hell is after that. This is the studio for it.
What license would they use? They're
Probably
great at
Marvel.
shooters. No. No.
Probably gonna be
Well, that's
Marvel.
why I was so confused. It's like Machine Games, the studio known for making 2 amazing reboots, like Wolfenstein, the New Order. They're making an Indiana Jones game. It's like, what the fuck? Like, that's like the last studio.
Reboots. Yo, reboot KOTOR because that game needs it, bro.
Listen, that's good.
Embrace it. Prove that they ain't doing it, bro.
No,
They ain't doing it.
don't. Listen, I'm just gonna say this right now. I'm getting so sick of licensed games, and I'm saying this as someone who, like, Spider-Man 2 is in the front running for my game of the year. Even now, I'm like, okay, we can calm down with all the licenses, because like, I just value like original gaming IPs way more than like some movie bullshit. That's just as simple as it is.
I like both, but licensed IPs do make me kind of excited.
Yo,
when
if
I see
they make a
something that I love.
Mandalorian game, look, if they make a Mandalorian, which is like free money on the table, Disney, why haven't you done this? It's gonna pop off.
I heard rumors of a Mandalorian game for the longest time, and just none of them ever really came into fruition. So that's
I
surprising.
mean, at least we're in the era now of like decent licensed games now, instead of like the early 2000s or whatnot, where they crapped out a tie-in game to every movie and TV show out there.
Not only did they do a tie-in game, they on each different console, it was a different experience. It was a different game entirely.
Machine Gun Games would do a great Star Wars game.
Machine
AK-47 games.
I think, I mean,
Machine
a Star Wars
games,
game like a Mandalorian. Oh yeah, no worries, it happens. Mandalorian, I think, could work under their. To me, I just want Wolfenstein 3, man. Like, that's as simple as that. And I'm like, man, I almost feel like they're. Okay, this is gonna sound controversial. I feel like they're kind of wasting their time with Indiana Jones. Because I'll just be honest, is Indiana Jones an S tier IP nowadays? I would not say so, especially after that movie did not seem to do well in theaters.
I mean, it's interesting because they could take it in like a completely different direction. This could be like the best thing Indiana Jones has done. It could be better than all the movies.
Exactly, it's well known. It's not S tier, but it is well known.
It's well known, and if they pull it off, it's like it's going to be a good action game. It's almost like the IP is almost non-needed. Like, if they just make a decent like treasure hunting adventure game, it's like there's the Indiana Jones IP is just there, a nice like slab of paint.
I mean, it could just be Uncharted. Like, what if they just do it basically an Uncharted game with this game? Like, that's just like Machine Games. They're known for making godlike FPS games, and then it's like, okay, Indiana Jones. Like, I just can't envision that as an FPS title. I trust them. I have a lot of respect for that studio, so I'm excited to see what comes out of it.
Yeah, we still don't know if this is a first-person or a third-person game.
That's definitely going to be the interesting thing to look out for. Moving on.
It could be the small studio could also be a Quake game.
Quake is id.
Actually is.
I guess. Yeah, id Software does Quake, but I guess id Software originally did Wolfenstein, so very much could be a situation where they utilize that IP, like they make the new Quake game. It's actually Machine Games doing it. I kind of doubt it. I think id's going to be working on the new Quake game. Even then, like, it seems like the Quake rumors aren't coming into fruition because it looks like it's just going to be a Doom prequel instead. Either way, I'm excited for both of these developers because these are both like S tier developers in my opinion. Moving on, we got another licensed game. Get some details out of. Okami Games had this over on Twitter. Edge Magazine visited IO Interactive and asked them about their upcoming James Bond game, Project 007. Quote, or bullet points here. Looks to be a more scripted experience than the Hitman trilogy, pitched as the ultimate spycraft fantasy, suggesting gadgets and less murderous objects of Agent 47. While it's confirmed that they're using an original James Bond, they say it suggests a tone closer to Daniel Craig than Roger Moore. And then job listings confirm it will be a third-person action game and is likely still a few years away. I know a lot of people are. Oh, go for it, Navi.
It sounds amazing.
I mean, yeah, this is. I mean, you get the Hitman devs to do anything, it's probably going to be really fucking good. A lot of people are extremely excited about this game, myself included. I guess I'll just ask right off the bat, how you guys feel about this. So, really, when is this game coming out?
2026.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a James Bond Casino Royale game. I fucking love that shit, bro.
There was
a couple of them. But that shit popped off, bro. If they just
there was
that.
There was that 007 Legends game that was it's a compilation of all the 007s, and it was basically just a shitty Call of Duty clone. So I hope that's not the route they go on.
I have never seen a 007 movie. I have never played a 007 game, but I'm hella excited for this game. Mostly just because it's IO. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That studio has a repertoire.
The things they do with Hitman are amazing, and I'm just imagining that in the spy situation.
Yeah, I'll ask. I mean, do you have I guess any fears? I don't want to say fears, but any thoughts about the idea that they're going for a less murderous, more spy focused theme? How that will work with the Hitman formula? Can it work? Any interest in that regard?
Yeah, because you can do a no-kill run in Hitman, and that will easily translate to 007, in my opinion.
Yep.
One of Metal Gear when it comes to stealth, because no one else has done it yet, or even really attempted it.
Yeah, it's Metal Gear, Splinter Cell, and Hitman are kind of the kings of stealth games. I mean, Splinter Cell's dead. Well, I mean, they're making that remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming back, but that's a few years off, it seems. And I mean, with this game, Moon said 2026. I mean, do you really want to compete with Sega's Super Game though? I feel like 2026 should just be the Super Game. It should just be the Super Game and nothing else.
It's gonna be Fortnite 2 with Sonic characters.
Moving on, we got one of my favorite game companies, Konami, in the news. Konami's latest earning results mentioned Silent Hill Remakes. This comes from Tom Ivan over at BGC. Konami has potentially suggested that more than one Silent Hill remake is in development. The Japanese publisher revealed plans to revive its long-dormant horror hit series last October when it announced that brand new games were in the works alongside a Silent Hill 2 remake from developer Bluebird Team, providing an update on its upcoming projects on Thursday. As part of its quarterly earnings results, the company has stated that Silent Hill remakes were being planned. It is said that as for ongoing efforts, we are working diligently on Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which faithfully recreates the story, characters, and game design of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, one of the most beloved entries in the Metal Gear series, and updates its graphical styles to modern graphics for the current generation, as well as remakes and completely new entries in the Silent Hill series, which gained popularity as a psychological horror game. While the statement may have been made in error, it could suggest that more than one remake is in development. VGC has contacted Konami for clarification and will update the story when it responds. I guess I'll ask right off the bat: do you guys think this is true? And if so, what Silent Hill games would be remade?
Not familiar, so I think Silent
Well,
Hill.
I'm hoping.
I've never played them before, but I think it is true.
Okay, well, this is my category then. Navi, have you played Silent Hill?
Yes, I played one, Shattered Memories, which is a remake of one, and I think I forgot what it was called. It was a 360 one.
Oh my god, you haven't played 2?
No, I never played 2.
Dude,
I was
Navi,
so scared.
knowing you, genuinely knowing you, I think that would be one of your favorite games of all time if you played it. I think you'd be so into that game.
I hate clunky
It is
games.
scary.
I hate clunky games though.
It is not nearly as clunky as you would think. There are points where maybe you'll need a guide, especially in the hotel. But other than that, it's clunky as the earlier Resident Evil games.
Navi and I should play it.
No, you guys. Listen. It's such a phenomenal fun game. Silent Hill 2 has genuinely one of the most incredible narratives I've ever seen in a video game. The way that they tell that story, characters, how genuinely insane some of that symbolism is and how deep it goes. Like there are a few games that attempt even attempt what Silent Hill 2 does, and let alone do it as masterfully as Silent Hill 2. I think that game is a certified masterpiece, one of the greatest games ever made. So that's why I'm really worried about this remake, because it's like, oh man, you're getting Blooper Team, the guys who did Layers of Fear. Ooh, what an all-star developer to remake one of the greatest games of all time.
Layers of Fear wasn't that bad.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, come on,
What
just
have
the
they made
pedigree
so
difference. Sorry, go ahead.
What have they made so far?
Blooper Team.
That's it.
Yeah,
It's like
like
Layer of Fear, Layer of Fear 2, and then
uh,
Layers of Fear.
Oh,
Oh no,
they made
the
Medium.
medium.
Medium was
Oh yeah,
good.
the Medium.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Medium was a good game.
Really? I think I saw mostly negative sentiments around that game.
No, it didn't get like an 80 on Metacritic.
I'm gonna look at that
Oh,
right
like
now.
a high 70s.
I mean, maybe critically it wasn't that bad, but like I saw a majority of people really disliking that game's.
I think everyone's just kind of
direction.
met on it. Yeah, it currently has a
Yeah.
75.
Oh, 70.
Yeah,
Say.
I want to have faith in Blooper Team. It's just really hard to, because if this was Blue Point, I would be like, yeah, 100% they'll nail it. I don't know. Blooper Team hasn't proven themselves as a developer to remake something of this caliber. Blue Point has, and that's kind of one of those things where it's like, I wish it was Blue Point or like another developer of that has shown that they can handle remakes doing this instead. I want to have optimism. I want to have faith that it'll be good. We have been hearing a lot of rumblings about Silent Hill 2 remake. It seems there were some store listings, some pre-orders, a release date for $20.99. So mark that on your calendars, guys. Maybe we'll still be playing Sega Super Game. Who knows? But I guess just in general, like it's going to be a tough thing. They
Most
have
of
a
the game,
very tough task.
most of the games are 7 out of 10s.
But yeah, but like you're asking a studio that makes 7 out of 10s to remake a 10 out of 10 game. That's kind of my viewpoint.
With how
And also-
Konami's been as of late, I feel like the only thing that they haven't announced yet that they're probably doing, which makes the most sense to me, is that they're probably gonna come out one day and be like doing a Symphony of the Night remake. If they haven't touched Castlevania yet,
do
that's
not
one of
touch
their
that
biggest
fucking game.
IPs.
Do not touch
They're
that
gonna
game.
do
That
it.
game is perfect.
They went straight
That
from
game-
Metal Gear Solid 3. They are not afraid of anything.
They're gonna do Castlevania Survive.
Oh,
Dude, if
no.
they're like, yeah, we're gonna remake Symphony of the Night and it's gonna be in 2.5D graphics. Oh man, you guys,
What
dude,
work?
my mic will be peaking on that episode of the podcast.
It's gonna happen. They're gonna remake one of the Castlevania games.
They're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. I believe. If you're gonna remake one, I like remake the like fucking 2. Simon, like, okay, don't remake.
Sucks.
Well, yeah, that's why remake it so it'll be good. Make it from a shitty game to a good game. That's all I'm saying.
When
Nah,
was the last
their mindset,
Castlevania
they went straight
released?
from Metal Gear Solid 3. Wait, what happened?
When was the last Castlevania released?
Was that
Lords of
Aria
Shadow
Star?
2.
Oh no, that's right.
Aria of Sorrow. Dark was like
when
frozen. That was 2004, brother.
Yeah, when he said Castlevania, I was thinking 2D Castlevanias.
No, last 2D Castlevania was Order of Ecclesia. Or I guess actually there was technically Lords of Shadow, Mirrors of Fate, which was the 3DS title. But
it wasn't.
Yeah, it was okay. The Lords of Shadow 2 was the last Castlevania, like main Castlevania game. They did some spin-offs, like, or not spin-offs, like mobile games and shit, but nothing substantial.
That's a weird game.
Franchise.
Had time travel to the future and shit.
Hey man, Lords of Shadow. I will say, when it comes to these other remakes, I do believe them. I think most likely Silent Hill 1 would be remade. I think they want to do 2 first because that's like kind of the
Poster
fan
child.
favorite to like kind of. Yeah, exactly. It's the poster child of the franchise, so I think they want to do 1 after that, which I still haven't played. I want to get around to playing one of these days. But yeah.
Before we get off this topic, I do want to point out something very funny with the medium. It's like just looking at the reviews here. It's like just how people are undecided about this game. Like PC Gamer says, a third-person horror game that's elevated by some of the sharpest writing and acting in the genre. And then literally right below that, Metro Game Central with a 4 out of 10 says, instead of high-tech thrills and survival horror chills, this disappointingly mundane thriller struggles to impress with a muddled narrative and unengaging gameplay. It's like, so does it have some of the best writing or does it have some of the worst writing? No one can make
Very
up their
mixed.
mind.
Exactly. Before actually we get off the topic, there was one other thing I wanted to mention, and I forgot. All right. Well, I guess we'll just get off the topic now. Oh, the new Silent Hill game, the AR experience that came out recently. That was the live stream. What was it called? Silent Hill
Ascension.
I heard that. Do you guys see the shit with that game?
I saw some
Battle
screenshots, but I
Pass?
wasn't really looking. There's a battle pass?
There's a battle
in a
pass.
horror game.
I am not joking. Silent Hill
What is
Ascension.
it?
It's
What do you get in the battle pass?
how the fuck do I explain this? Okay, so it's damn it. Okay, let me try to figure out how to play basically like an experience where you and like other people are like in the live chat, and what's happening is basically everyone's like watching an experience play out, and you have to vote on like what the characters do next. So like let's say the
Telltale.
character finds it's like a communal Telltale game.
It's for Android?
Yeah, it's on like phones and whatnot.
How does the battle pass work
Nah,
with this?
like-
You
That's what. Okay. You can buy votes. You can,
Oh my
pay to win.
god.
it's literally pay to win. If you pay, your votes are considered more weighted. And listen, I don't know, man. I think I'm political just off that notion, but it's funny. It's you have a battle. I don't even know what's in the battle pass. I deep dive on this game because this is one of the funniest fucking jokes of the year so far. But yeah,
And
God bless.
before they announced it, they released really cool concept art, didn't they?
Yeah, it was like part of that big Silent Hill presentation last year in October
Yeah,
where they went
yeah.
over. It was like Silent Hill 2 remake and then Silent Hill F. That one I'm really interested in because that's a brand new Silent Hill game that's done by Ryukishio 7, who did like Higurashi and one other series. He's a well-renowned horror writer, and so like this is very much a situation where if you can, I think that game will at least have a really good story. We'll see with the gameplay, but like I think the story will be good. I'm hoping good things out of that IP. Moving on, we had a quick one. Okami Games had this first look at the upcoming Lies of P DLC, and the director has officially confirmed a sequel is in the works. Obviously, we already knew about the DLC. It is interesting. The DLC, one of the screenshots, very much shows an allusion to Peter Pan, so that is cool, very awesome. If you beat that game, you would understand why that's significant. It's a really cool detail. But like the sequel, very much expected out with the
Well,
ending. I will be there. Oh, go ahead.
I'll be there.
without spoiling anything, are they trying to create a world of fairy tales?
I can't.
Moving on.
Oh, you can't. Okay, you
Yeah.
can't even answer that. Okay.
Moving on. I do want to say, like a little side thing. I've had me and most other people who played this game have gripes with the balancing and stuff. And I want to say during this, when this was announced, they had like a little presentation. The like one of the higher ups from the team came out, and they were very like clear and straightforward. Of like they listened to the community, listening to feedback. Yeah, it's taking them a while. Like it took them a couple months. But they are very much listening, and they got all the feedback. So I'm very excited to see what they're gonna be doing the later entries.
I think they're gonna.
Yeah, the only game, like the only thing wrong with Lies of P was the balancing. And if that's the only thing wrong with a Souls-like clone on your first attempt, you're doing something right.
Navi, I'm into this game. This is a definite you game because this
It's
this
on my
game
list.
fucking slaps. It is very, very good. I saw a lot of people I respect in the community, or like, just like the gaming community, like Maximilian Dude, Rogers Base, very much go like this is a 10 out of 10 game of the year. Mr. Matty plays, a big fan of his channel. it's his game of the year. So it very much shows it's like a lot of people are a fan of this game. Now, Mr. Matty said some very disrespectful stuff about FromSoft, so I don't really trust him anymore as a content creator after that. but
Can't turn
I-
enemy
I-
betrayals.
nah, because bro was just like, yeah, they're actually able to tell a story in this game, unlike FromSoft. I'm like, okay, buddy, let's
Different
calm
type of
down.
storytelling.
It's yes. I'm tired of this. I gotta fight for FromSoft's honor, But yeah, I will 100% be there for Lies of P sequel and DLC.
This game makes Wulong look like trash.
Yes.
100%. I like the Wolong, and this makes Wolong look like a 360 game, basically. And like it's just this is the studio's first game. That is fucking insane to me.
Not
How
only is
is
it the
that?
first thing, this is like thought out. Like, they have a whole roadmap. They know what the fuck they're doing.
100%. Next story. This is one only I care about, so I'll just very much talk about it real quick. Atari enters into an agreement to acquire Digital Eclipse. Got that from Mario 64. There's a whole thing about it. I'm not going to read all of it, but very much, if you don't know Digital Eclipse, they do a lot of remasters of retro classic games, cool collections. They did Atari 50, which got a lot of respect and love. My viewpoint is, I'm happy for Digital Eclipse if they're able to like actually utilize and like make really cool stuff. He is the lamest dev to be able to buy them. I want Digital Eclipse to like do cool collections and shit for like actually cool IPs. Atari has nothing. Atari is like Atari games, which I don't know if you guys have played an Atari game. Those shits are boring. They just
Hey,
I don't know.
They
Go
got
ahead.
Thrillville.
Oh, Thrillville. Okay, you know what? They're saved.
Look, we're gonna get in 5 years' time. We're gonna get a Space Invaders mega game. I'm telling you now. $500
Space
million
Assistant
budget.
Atari. Space Invaders is Tecmo.
Is it
Is
actually?
it Tecmo? I'm pretty sure it's Tecmo. Hang on. I'm gonna see. Can't believe first time. Who owns Space Invaders? That is oh my god, it's Square Enix.
Wait, is it actually?
It's apparently Square Enix. Wait, okay, Taito. So Taito was the original developers, and Square Enix owns Taito
The more you know.
of Square Enix.
I thought Atari
Yeah,
owned it for some reason.
I don't know, man.
They-
Atari is just like. Go ahead, Navi.
Do they own Pac-Man?
No,
No, that's
Namco.
Bandai.
What does Atari own?
Nothing.
Good.
That's what
Pong.
I'm saying.
They own,
It's like they own
Pong.
basketball.
They own Pong.
Yeah,
They own
Pong.
Breakout. I like Breakout.
Atari
Give
owns
us-
Bubsy.
Oh no.
Oh well, you know what, guys? We're
That
safe.
explains a lot. That's...
What does Atari? Do they own anything other than Bubsy?
I'm looking at their IP catalog right now. Granted,
say
this is their
they own-
IP catalog from 2016.
A portfolio of
haven't
more
released
than
anything as of
200
late.
a portfolio of more than 200 games. I'll say right now, I am so shocked that Atari is still alive because they just. If
They
you don't
refuse
know,
to die.
if you know video game history, they have made some of the most baffling decisions ever since, like, you know, kind of their run up. Like, they basically ruled the video game industry up until E.T. when that game came out. That game flopped massively for them. They actually buried unsold copies of that game in a New Mexico landfill, which is one of the most interesting video game stories of all time, which was proven true. And from there, like, they
Richard
kind of
Allen.
just they released like the Atari 7800, which was like not big at all, and then like the NES came out, and that very much was just like kind of jover for Atari at that point. They couldn't really bounce back from that,
I
and
can't
then they made the
find anything
Jaguar.
about like what they own, but
Yeah, I
here's
can't either.
here's a fun little quote though on their page right here. As of 2023, the current Atari's focus is on video games, consumer hardware, licensing, and blockchain.
Oh no.
I hate them. I want you guys to know. I joke about hating Sega. I genuinely hate Atari. I think Atari is one of the stupidest game companies, and I don't know how the fuck they're still around.
It's-
Fuck that they
it's
haven't just been
because-
bought out.
Yo, it's
because they-
Atari, Blizzard, and
out.
Square Enix.
It's the hotel, man.
The
It's keeping them in business.
remind me of the Atari hotels. They literally own hotels, or at least they're like building out Atari hotels. I hate this company. I genuinely do.
So yeah, they
my
bought a
Atari-
bunch of IPs earlier this year. They bought over 100 retro games from the 80s and 90s, including Bubsy, Demolition Racer, and more. They don't specify anything else.
What did you buy Bubsy for? Nobody likes Bubsy. Bubsy is a joke. We joke about liking
back
Bubsy.
before Rayman. That is crazy.
Sadly, the company
That is-
hasn't shared a full list of the retro IP it now owns after its most recent splurge, so there'll be no time length pass for nostalgia. But its announcement did at least call out the aforementioned Bubsy, Demolition Racer, alongside Hardball, 1942 Pacific Air War, F-117A, and F-14 Air Combat series. That's the only ones they talked about.
I want you guys to know I like retro games, and even I barely know what you're talking about right now, man.
Because this is Atari. This is like, this is older than retro games. This is ancient
Any
games.
other game company, Digital Eclipse, who make amazing remasters and collections and like histories and stuff, like digital history, really showcasing the history of video games in a spotlight that most remasters do not do. Digital Eclipse are the masters of this. Any other game company, Konami, Capcom, Ubisoft, fucking Square Enix, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, anybody else would have had so much fun. It's like Digital Eclipse. It's like, yeah, Ubisoft bought them. We're gonna make a Rayman trilogy remaster. It like has a lot of really cool details and stuff. Beyond Good and Evil remake, all this cool stuff that Digital Eclipse could have done. But fucking Atari gets them. Why? Nobody likes Atari. Nobody.
I mean,
I'm sick of them.
they agreed to it. They like
Alright,
Atari,
so-
obviously.
Why
Atar-
do you?
Atari
50 was a
owns and or manages a portfolio of more than 200 unique games and franchises, including world-renowned
What
brands
do you cares about?
like Asteroids, Centipede, Missile Command, Pong, and Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Roller Coaster
Roller
Tycoon.
Coaster
That might be
Tycoon,
the best
that's
thing.
your one. Just do a Roller Coaster Tycoon collection and we're good. And then just sell you to like Capcom, please. Fucking hate Atari so much. I'm so mad
Oh,
about
no.
this news.
They still have the freedom to seek out projects with other parties. It's in the Q&A.
Oh, is that?
Or they
Okay.
pulled a Bungie.
That
I'll
is
send
really
you.
good to know.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I
Yeah, if you click on the
Thank you for doing my job.
the link from Globe Newswire.
Maybe I got mad for nothing. Because that's very good to hear.
But it's just crazy
If-
to think that Atari has the money to do something like
Yeah.
this.
How are they still around? Like as Navi said, like the
Money's keeping
hotels
them
maybe.
alive.
So, yeah,
Really?
that's the thing. They bought all of these retro games back in April of this year, and now they're buying this Digital Eclipse. It's like they have money and they're buying stuff. Like,
They're
where are they
planning.
getting this money?
They're
trust
planning.
fund,
They have a
baby.
plan.
They have.
And they said,
Is
guys,
this
I have an idea. And they
okay?
go
Is
on
this
it.
plan? Is this plan like an actual plan or a THQ Nordic plan?
I mean, to be fair, like they're not buying that many people. So
Yeah, that's true.
So one of the revenue streams is blockchain.
I mean, I don't doubt that they probably get like a decent amount from blockchain and like crypto and whatnot. But like, I mean, I don't know. That's just not one I would advertise. I guess. It's like, yeah, guys, we do crypto. It's like, okay, thanks, Atari. I don't know. I'm such an Atari hater. I genuinely like. You will not find a bigger Atari hater than me. Moving on, though. Enough Atari. I can't talk about them anymore. I want to talk about something cool, like Deltarune.
let's go.
Toby Fox put out a little game release strategy where A64 had this. Game release strategy. So now that Chapter 3 is nearing completion, I think it's a good time to rediscuss how we will release Deltarune for purchase. My original plan was to release Chapter 3, 4, and 5 together. However, the finish line of Chapter 5 is still pretty far off, and I don't think anybody really wants to wait that long for me to release anything, especially me. So, new strategy. No more waiting for Chapter 5. Instead, we are going to focus on putting Deltarune out for purchase once we finish Chapter 4. That should make everything a bit more reasonable. Chapter 4 already has a very substantial amount of cutscenes and enemy work done. Also, I've hired a new producer whose entire job will be to speed up the overall game development for future chapters. So I feel very optimistic about the next steps of this project. That being said, though, I think I'm going to pause on more detailed development updates for now. Instead, I'll just let you guys know if the development is getting close to completion or if something funny happens. I'll tell you right now, whatever Toby Fox is doing, let him cook. That man is a genius. I love Undertale. I think I've been waiting kind of for all of Deltarune to come out before jumping into that one. I'm going to be waiting a while, it seems. But I'm fine with it because I trust that guy. I think he is a genius. I know that whatever he's going to put out is going to be a banger.
Following Undertale and Deltarune. I've played through all of them so far, and it's incredible he's been able to do. He has something going it physically hurts him to work, and that's why
Yeah.
everything's taking so long. So I'm very glad that he's getting more help. Because
I think
this man doing this like a one-man team is insanity. But now that he's getting more people, I'm glad.
it's very much a thing where he was allowing him to like get more people in that team and getting like kind of like cleaner workflow will allow him to hopefully get Deltarune out quicker, and
Like
you know
3-4
maybe what
people,
else
with him included.
yeah, and the majority of the work like listen, all I'm saying is like, you know, what are the what's the new music, because whatever the new music is gonna be, oof, that's gonna be
Yeah,
it.
the story itself is really good too, especially with Deltarune. I feel like the
So they
story in Deltarune is better than Undertale so far. That's just me.
so they got quite a few people actually. Uh,
Oh really?
yeah, they have a lot more than I thought they would.
Oh,
I'd
as
send you
like
the
a
list.
full indie
Last I heard, it
studio.
was just
Yeah,
him and the one other guy. I
it's
didn't know
like
he
a
had like a whole team
full
now.
indie studio from the looks of it. Let me send you the list. It's on their
Like a
website.
Oh shit.
okay, listen. If Deltarune comes out before Team for Hollow Knight Silk Song, we're gonna have some issues. That's all I'm
No,
gonna
it
say.
won't. No, it's not.
Oh yeah, it won't. But like, just imagine. So let's see.
It's right
So what's
under
the part of?
creation.
Oh yeah, they do got quite a bit of people actually.
God damn, actually, yeah, because it's no longer a solo project. More and more people are hired. Two people I want to thank specifically were Sarah and Temmie. Temmie has stuck with the project doing the art for about 5 years now.
The main team is
Sarah's
5
been
people.
5 TP. Okay, but then probably like a lot of people. Yeah, that very
Yeah,
much
it's
like
character
support.
design, pixel art assistants. Yeah, who made the dev tools.
I mean, it's good that he's getting more help. He needs the help if possible. All I know is that whatever it is, you know, I'm gonna Toby Fox is a very, very good game developer. That's it for the news, though. Very jam-packed news week. I think we're ready to talk about what we've been playing. Usually I go first, but I actually want to go over to Dark. I want you to start.
So I got into Diablo again after the new season dropped. And yeah, it's been a blast to go through it. I made a brand new character. I wanted to like they really get the full experience of them with the season now that they came back, and they did a really good job. I still feel like they need to add more to the end game because after you make it to World Tier 4, it's kind of like, the fuck do you do now? Besides killing the same super boss over and over again. But besides that, they've fixed everything miraculously, and they're heading in a good direction. And hopefully they keep up.
Hey, that's exciting to hear. I was just mad because the game was always online on a boss and the game lagged and I was pissed off, so I sold the game. But hey, you know what? It's good to hear that the game is at least good now.
Yeah, I think they should definitely get a lot of people like even like because I go on looking for group posts often like to help people out and vice versa. The community for the game is incredible, by the way. But everyone I talked to was like, yeah, they need to fix the online only thing.
It'll be impossible to fix that.
I don't think so.
Unfortunately. Yeah, it's
Look at
tied
the
to
way the
the whole
game's
game. Yeah.
designed is basically which you could just call that's bad programming.
It's an MMO. They just don't call it MMO because it scares people away. It's an
Okay,
MMO.
but like
The
it's an
MMO for no
MMO.
content
Nobody
and the end
plays it.
game.
Nobody plays it like an MMO. I was playing it solo. Like, why can't I just play it
Yeah.
solo offline?
Most of the time, most of the time I'm not even
It's
running into people in like towns and stuff.
yeah,
There's
it's like
barely
barely an
anybody.
MMO. I literally like I saw someone and I said hi and they just ignored me.
I can very much
I'm
see
like,
them
okay, I'm just
removing
gonna.
it and it will work. Like you can,
It
your
was
character, especially with like how they're doing everything, your character alone can handle all of the events and bosses in this game itself.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's designed to let you play single player, and it's just like for some reason they're like, well, we want it to be always online, so we just built the game always online, which is fucking insane to me. Like it's apparently it's like the excuse I always hear is, oh well, they made the game like this. They can't just change it. It's like then why did they change? Like why did they make it like this? I can at least criticize that and say it's stupid. I hate always online games. I hate always online single player games more than anything right now. Moon, I want to go over to you actually. What have you been playing?
So after beating Spider-Man, I was kind of in a lull, and I went on an anime binge, as tune into Slice of
Oh
Anime
my
to hear about that.
God.
But then Jusant and Thirsty Suitors hit Game Pass back to back. So I started those, and I'm kind of just killing time now until I either decide to break down and buy Star Ocean or wait until Mario RPG and Persona 5 Tactica comes out. But Jusant's been a good
my
time.
God.
It's a very zen game. It's like it's just rock climbing, and I want to call it a puzzle game, but at the same time, it's not really. The amount of puzzle it is how do I get from point A to point B with this amount of tool sets, and that's about it. Um, but it's one of those. The way I described it in chat to a couple people is it's like a Pixar short, like those shorts that you see before Pixar and Disney films. They're usually silent. They don't. Everything's done through like environmental storytelling, and it's very simplistic in its design most of the time because really all there is to the story is you're this person, you're in this like long desert and you see this gigantic mountain and you have this little creature buddy in your backpack. So not much to go on, but you start climbing and through the environmental story it looks like there was once a civilization here and the people have either been wiped out or moved on to somewhere else because maybe it's a drought because it's literally a giant desert that you're surrounded by. Um and literally the whole game is just climbing upward, finding collectibles, and every chapter ends with some kind of like monument that you activate. So maybe there'll be some more storytelling going on there because your little alien creature friend that you have has powers that helps you with some climbing segments. And you're like turning on monuments in the mountain. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's intriguing. But what the best selling point of this is the climbing mechanic itself. I see some people not liking it, but it's a little awkward at the beginning, but it's one of those things where you do get used to it after a while because you individually use each hand. You use the right trigger for your right hand and the left trigger for your left hand. So you have to like with your stick move your hand individually. So if you're like climbing to the side in other games, you would just hold the right on the stick and your character would automatically do it. No, you got to like push down on the trigger to grab hold of the ledge, let go of your left hand, move the hand over to grab the next part, and manually move yourself over and do other stuff like that. And you can also jump to like get farther, and you can stick your because you have like a safety line. I forget what those are called in rock climbing, but you can stick those in the wall as like almost like checkpoints. But you can only go so far. Your rope is only so long. So it's a very interesting game to listen to music and relax or listen to a podcast or something like that.
Yeah,
So I recommend it. The main story is only like 4 to 5 hours long.
you sold me on that point of it
I'm
being
a-
very much a podcast game.
I'm already downloading it. Everything you said, I want. The climbing mechanic sounds so interesting.
Yeah, it's a little awkward at first because you realize, oh, I have to do like right, left, especially if you're going like through a path of like a bunch of rocks, because that's what you start with is like a very bunch of easy to grab like rock ledges. That's how they ease you into it, and then they start throwing more like, okay, now you have to actually like reach over and grab this ledge, and because your character actually moves with your stick, so he like if you're moving your left hand, he actually like stretches out, and if it's just out of reach, he actually does stretch out and reach it for you. So that's like the main selling point of this game is this cool climbing mechanic for me. Um, but yeah, I think I'm near the end. It's only 6 chapters long. I just started chapter 4, and chapter 3 was really long. Like 1 and 2, I breezed through, and then chapter 3 was like probably this combined length of 1 and 2. So kind of inconsistent chapter lengths.
That's
But
usually the case for games like this.
And then I started Thirsty Suitors. I only got to the first like maybe half hour of the game. It's pretty much if you played the demo, that's all I've gone towards is like the first battle that you do. Still an interesting concept of a game, and I'm curious to see how it goes. What's really interesting to me right now is I keep checking back through today, checking how long to beat.com, see if anyone has put in like how long is this game. No one's put at the time yet. So is this game like surprisingly long? That's what I'm waiting to find out.
That's exciting.
But
And you
okay,
had
do you want me to describe Thirsty Suitors real quick?
I mean, you explained it last time on the podcast. Haven't
Just
you? It's kind of like
yeah,
you can
think
go
of it
do
as
like
like
a quick run
a
through.
RPG version of like a Telltale game or a Life is Strange game. I think is more accurate. Because your arguments or debating with people is like a turn-based RPG. So you have to do moves that like certain effects, and you can also either completely destroy them and win the fight, or you can come to like a mutual understanding. So it's like there's interesting ways to deal with the battles. So I'm curious how far they take that mechanic.
That's like a it's a cool idea, but for me, I'm like, I want to like fight these people.
It's like these.
Like, I don't
You know what this game is, though? This game is just Life is Strange Scott Pilgrim versus the World, because we're dealing with our evil exes.
Okay, let's calm down with
That's
the
cool.
Scott Pilgrim comparison. Oh, don't get me interested. Come on, I have enough to play.
Because yeah, the game starts out with you literally. So this is where this is not spoilers because this was in the demo. But after you do your first fight with your ex from like second or third grade, like after the cutscene happens, you see him like meet with like your 6 other exes. They all got like into a group chat, and they all got met up at the diner to chat that, hey, you're the character that you play, Jala. Like Jala's back in town, guys. So it really was a meeting of the evil exes, and I was just laughing my ass off at it. It's like all these people just joined at this random diner just to talk about your ex.
How's the skateboarding?
I only did the tutorial part of it, which is just kind of like a like a little questionnaire thing. I mean, it seems interesting. It seems at least somewhat responsive. I don't know how much it factors into the rest of the game because you just did it in a dream sequence. So I don't know how much skateboarding there actually is. Because really all the tutorial level was the skateboarding and then your one fight with the X. So I need to get more into the game, but I want to finish
Okay.
Jusant first. Like I said, I only played like a half hour maybe.
And then you also played Headbangers.
Yeah, so this was announced during a Nintendo Direct, and then later was confirmed to be coming to Game Pass. Let me tell you, this is
Oh, it
Fall
is?
Guys. It's on Game Pass. It's Fall Guys, but hard. Like, oh my gosh, this game is actually hard if you have
hang on.
if you have no rhythm, if you can't keep track of a beat.
Oh, it's a
Because
rhythm game. Hang
yeah,
on.
literally, it's called Headbangers Rhythm Royale.
Oh
It's
man.
it's all music and like rhythm-based mini games, and of course,
Goalie
Last Man
contender?
Standing. It might, if you like rhythm games, it might just be because I will say the mini games are interesting. They're neat, but boy, are they hard. At least
you
for
play in
people,
the
someone
team?
like me.
Is it a
Say again?
solo game or can you play in a team?
I don't know if there's a team. I didn't look that far. I only played like a half hour before I left for work. And, I would assume there would. I assume it's more like Fall Guys, where you're not really technically working together. It's more like you're just in the same group, and whoever sees you can see whoever survives the longest. We'll say the most annoying part of this game is they use the pigeon characters, like your pigeon avatar that they use. They all sound like minions. They make minion noises.
Well, okay. Thanks for unselling me on the game. Goddamn. Damn it. Bro, rhythm games. Yo, that's my fucking shit.
Yeah, it's a
damn
rhythm
it,
game battle royale.
Damn,
It looks fun.
It definitely.
Yeah, I would say check it out. It's on Game Pass. Check it out. See if you, because there wasn't too many. I think there's like maybe only 12 games. I'm sure they'll add more eventually. Because this seems like an ongoing thing.
I want to go into what you.
I just finished Dragon's Dogma a few days ago.
I want to hear about this.
So I played this like 5 years ago. Around 5 or 4 years ago. I hated it. But during that time, I was one of those nerds who only like story. I'm not- I changed a lot.
Yeah. Thank you, Navi.
And
You know,
I
I've
don't
been
give
trying to tell them I am so mad Fusion and Bench ain't here. Oh man, those nerds. Sorry.
and I don't really care about the story. It's okay. It's it's there, but the best part is it doesn't get in the way because the
Yes.
gameplay is like a 9 out of 10. It is think of Monster Hunter in an RPG where you have magic, you have arrows, you have swords, you have basic class, your barbarian, your mage, and your archer. And the barbarian can climb on the monster. He can climb up to the head
and attack the head for critical damage. You can attack the tail, take the tail off, and each monster has a weakness to certain elements. So you can, uh, if you're a mage, you can use certain different elemental attacks. Uh, the combat is amazing. Uh,
It's the Devil May
now
Cry creator. Like very, I assume it's very similar in that regard.
Devil May Cry? No, it's nothing like
No,
Devil May Cry.
that's
It
interesting because there is
is,
the Devil May Cry like kind of like lead director and his project theirs, but like it's like is it like much slower like Monster Hunter? Because like one of my issues with
yeah.
Monster Hunter is how slow it felt. Is it like that?
It's not. I would say it's a little faster than Monster Hunter, but
Okay.
or a little faster or about the same speed. I I agree with you. I don't like Monster Hunter because I don't. The process of finding monster takes too long.
Yes,
But
I hated doing that.
no, So another thing is this game doesn't have fast travel or easy fast travel. You have to set up checkpoints with stones you find around the world. So you have to strategize where to put each checkpoint at because you're gonna have to move around this big ass map and get to certain dungeons or get to certain towns. Uh now I let's see dungeons. Okay,
I mean,
so
yeah,
the
go ahead.
dungeons in the game, they feel like if Elden Ring came out in the early 2010s. That's
Oh,
one
okay,
so
okay, let's
like
calm
they've
down.
been
Wait a minute,
Oh,
that's Wolf's Decade.
so
yeah, yeah.
they're not as good as Elden Ring. But if Elden Ring came out in 2010 and was way more limited, I feel like it will be very similar to how these dungeons are. Uh
Bro said Elden Ring and early 2010s, my two favorite things. Oh man. This is sounding like a me game.
so they have I believe like 6 or 7 classes. They have the basic classes like barbarian, the archer, the mage, and then you got like the special classes where you can combine the mage with the barbarian and do a magic combo with your physical attacks. Then there's the assassin. Uh, then there's the magic archer who has magic arrows and he can also use magic. My personal opinion, don't go for magic at all. I think it's boring.
Yeah, of course.
Because
Just like
because
Souls.
because climbing on the monster is like the best part about this game. You're a barbarian or assassin. You get on that monster, a dragon or a five-headed snake. You climb up to that head and keep striking it, and and it shakes and it throws you off. It's such a great
Man.
experience.
Everything I'm hearing
Uh,
is that you're day one for Dragon's Dogma 2, I assume.
yeah, the the boss is on my favorite part about this game. So
Damn. Oh man, you're getting me in. Yeah, I'm excited.
So, so each boss has like a elemental weakness, and you're not going to beat the boss the first time. You're gonna have to try maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 times. You have to go back to town. You have to pick specific armor. You're gonna have to pick different party members. Uh, make sure those party members have the magic needed to attack the boss. You're gonna need to buy items like one of the birds I fought, he petrified me. And if I don't have the potion to cure myself, I instantly die. I turn into stone and I just crumble away. So I had to go back into
That is
the
awesome.
shop and buy some potions so I can make sure my teammates don't die and I don't die. Um, it's a really good game, and it was stupid of me for dropping it because the story was blah. Uh, the now
Yeah, so the story being blood, like ever pick up or very much just like
it
the thing you go into the game for?
I don't I'm gonna forget the story in a few months. Like I might remember the ending. I might remember the ending because the ending was a little bit memorable, but everything else I'm just like okay.
Not while you play.
Now the weakest part of the game has to be the AI for your companions. Oh my gosh, they are fucking stupid. I was fighting
So-
an ice dragon, and then he uses an ice spell on an ice dragon when he has fire magic. And I just stood there and I died. It was so fucking
oh my
stupid.
god.
So
See that?
the game feels like a co-op, like the game was supposed to be co-op, because it feels like other Souls games co-op, but a lot more materialized. Like so you have the tank, you have the mage, uh, and if they fall, you heal them up, and you can't beat these monsters alone. You need your companions. Maybe at
Of
max
course.
level you could. Uh, and it feels so co-op, but it's not. And the
Well, I heard
disappointing part about
it's
it
like
is Dragon
yeah, go for it.
Dogma 2 isn't gonna be co-op.
Yeah, it very much. I heard the big thing was that like what you could do, you could get companions from your friends' worlds. And so like if they had a
Y-
companion, like you could take one of theirs.
Yes, so like they have this whole system where you go into like the network and you can look for companions around the world, which is other people, and you can hire them and they can help you. You can specifically search for specific moves or specific item, not moves, moves and magic that you need for a boss. So that's a nice part about it. You just go to a search. So like I needed someone with when I was fighting the bird that petrified me. I also got a mage that knew magic to unpetrify me if I ran out of
Interesting.
potions. So that's
Very ahead of
nice,
its time.
but the AI is so stupid. That's the worst part about it.
Well, hopefully they fix
And
that up for the second game.
I just wish they made it co-op, because this game would be a 10 out of 10, because the co-op experience would be out of this world. They made an
Oh, for
MMO
sure.
like in around 2016, I think, and people loved it,
Oh,
but it only came out in Japan. So
yeah.
it didn't really have its time to grow, but there's fan projects and stuff like that.
Well, that's very exciting. I'm definitely gonna try to pick up Dragon's Dogma before. You really sold me. I'm like, there's enough to play this year, but now I'm like, maybe I go back and play Dragon's Dogma. I hear it's a decently long game. Like what, like 40 hours? You said it took you?
I beat it. I think I beat it in like 60. So you can
60.
beat
Oh
it. You can beat it in like 35 hours, 32. I was just exploring the world, and I kept fighting bosses that I shouldn't have. You know how it goes.
gotcha.
Post game. Let me just talk about post game real quick. So
Yeah,
there's
go for it.
you have to do two endings. So the first ending, and then there's you have to go through it and get a second ending uh to get your true ending, I guess. But there's it's it's like Pokemon. You go through a tower. You have to go through a tower, and the tower has all these different types of bosses, and you just keep fighting these bosses. I'm not going to tell you why or specifically what bosses are in there, but you have to keep fighting all these bosses, and it's such a great experience. It's like a boss rush. You're getting the best parts of the game
Boss
in just
Rush. I love that.
you're just in one condensed area. And that's
Damn.
and after that, there's another post game where you
Oh
go.
my god.
I believe this was an expansion. It's like a huge ass
Darker Rhythm.
dungeon. Yeah, it's a huge ass dungeon, and they have a different. You get a whole bunch of different equipment there. You go in, you come back, you build new armor. I believe the armor pieces are cursed, so you have to cleanse them, and then you go back in, and it's a game loop that you just keep going to a dungeon deeper and deeper. It's I haven't really dived into that part. I'm gonna wait a few weeks, but I'm excited.
That's exciting. You also been playing one of my babies, one of my most beloved games, Sleeping Dogs, one of the most underrated games of all time. It's at this point where it's like always the poster child of being one of the most underrated games of all time. and to the point where it's like maybe it's not underrated anymore. But yeah, how have you been enjoying that one?
I've been about 5 hours in. It's I'm really enjoying it. It's a
Okay.
fresh. It's really nice change of pace because a lot of these city games, it's either in Tokyo, New York, maybe California, somewhere in the US. And
Of course.
I'm kind of I'm kind of I wouldn't say burnt out, but
Uh huh.
I wanted something new, and this gave me something new. Like I haven't played a game that was based in China, current China. Maybe
Yeah,
I,
it's
I
the
think
best part.
I didn't
Hong Kong.
yeah, Hong Kong. I thought this was gonna be in Chinatown. I didn't expect them to actually go to China. That's one of the best parts about this game, in my opinion. So it reminds me a lot of
Dude,
Yakuza.
it's yeah. It's very much that unique setting in China that really adds to the character of that game. And what you said, Yakuza, I always say this about this game. It's Yakuza if it had good combat.
It the combat's just it's the same combat, but the difference
No,
is yes, the difference is it's faster. It's less
that's
clunkier.
it. Yeah, that's why like it's
It's
faster,
just
quicker.
yeah. It's the same combat though. You interact with your environment. You use the environment to your advantage. Push your opponents in there to do a cool little execution. Uh, it feels the story is actually pretty good. I'm enjoying the
It
story,
really picks up.
but the world is very interesting, and I love how they did their side quest. You just click a button and you just find the nearest side quest to you, or you can press it again to find the one of the main quests. And
Yeah,
I just been doing side quests because of that. I'm just like, oh, but I could just
what's
go
over
there
here?
and do this. Uh,
It,
like I just finished doing a side quest where I met a white girl and I took on a date and I just took pictures of her. That was the whole side quest. And one of the and another side quest, so it has some goofy element like Yakuza. It doesn't get as crazy, but it does have some goofiness to it. Like once I had to take a picture of a bridge and there was a drunk guy in front of it, and anytime I try to take a picture, he'll do like a funny ass pose. And my character was like, "Get the fuck out the way," and he kept saying, "Get the fuck out the way," and the guy was just goofing around. And then my mission changed to from take the picture to beat his ass. And then once I beat his ass, it made me take the picture again.
that's what it has a lot of that charm of Yakuza, a lot of that like cool kookiness of like GTA with those side missions, while also having a very strong narrative. It's a very classic like undercover cop story. Like they get infiltrate a gang and they get close, all that good stuff. Like it's a cliche story, but it works because it understands those cliches, and it's a very strong emotional moments, and the whole ending sequence is fucking incredible. I will say, you haven't gone to it yet. The shooting is really bad in this game.
Oh no,
So-
I gone to the shooting. I found
oh,
a
you
gun on the
have?
floor. I found
Oh
a gun
man,
on the floor, and I went into an enemy's base, and I died instantly because I didn't know how to fucking shoot. There's no
it's so
tutorial.
bad. Trust me, the shooting is not good. It is the clunkiest part of the game. But other than that, we
I
talked about it before the podcast. It is the best GTA clone not made by Rockstar. Basically, like it's the best
Ye
possible GTA that wouldn't be made by Rockstar.
I really like the morale system. So what they do is
Oh yeah,
they have 2 morale system. They have a gangster morale. So it's divided into a cops and gangsters. So when you
yeah,
do a mission, sometimes they correlate with the faction you're doing it for. So if you're doing a cop mission, you're going to get more XP uh for the cop stats, but
hmm
you still get a few stats for the gangster. But if you do bad things during the mission, you get more stats for the gangsters and less stats for the cops. So you have to keep balance. So if you want to upgrade cops faster, don't do anything bad when you're doing missions. But if you want to upgrade the gangster side of things, uh, kill some people, do some wild shit.
Kill some people. It's such a great system. Like, you're kidding me. What? I'm like, man, maybe I should replay this game because God, it's such a good game.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I look forward to diving deeper into it.
And then you had one other thing here. I'm trying to see.
It's Pillars of
Pillars. Oh,
Eternity,
wait.
the
Okay, I
White
see.
March. It's a basic CRPG. It doesn't do anything special. I'm mostly
Mhm.
playing it because it's connected to Avowed, and
Yeah,
Avowed
that's a big
looks
thing.
great. And I love CRPG, so even if it's a basic CRPG, I'm gonna get into it. It's a good game. I just wouldn't recommend it to someone who doesn't like CRPGs. Um,
That's
uh,
yeah. I know a friend, one of our guests, Cyber, is a huge fan of Pillars of Eternity. He loved that game.
the DLC, it's great. It adds a whole new area. It adds voice acting to all the main characters in the game, which is great because the vanilla game didn't have much voice acting. It was kind of flip flop on that. Some characters will have it, some characters won't. It didn't really matter if they were major characters in the story. It was just random in my opinion. Uh, but it's good. It's a CRPG. You're doing D&D stuff. Not a not as good as your game. What's it called Baldur's Gate 3, but it's decent.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one. Yeah, it's interesting. One that I'm tempted to check out.
If you if you like Avowed and you want to dive deeper into the lore when Avowed comes out, that is,
Yeah, that's gonna be the big thing.
play Pillars of Eternity.
Now I want to get into what I've been playing. I usually go first for these, but I wanted to go last this time because there's a lot I want to say. So real quick, I beat Luigi's Mansion 3. I'm just gonna say this real quick, kind of update. My thoughts haven't changed since last week. It's very much a situation where I thought the game was great. I thought it was a very fun experience, but it kind of just like made me sad, thinking like I will probably never get an experience like Luigi's Mansion 1 again, which that's exactly what I want out of Luigi's Mansion personally. And Luigi's Mansion 3, like it's a different direction of the series. It's still a very fun direction, very creative, but it's not what I personally love, which is the charm and style of Luigi's Mansion 1. So that's just a first world problem, me problem.
What does
But the
it do
big
different?
Luigi's Mansion 1 is a lot more like aesthetically, the vibes are a lot spookier. The ghost designs are much more interesting. I don't like the ghost designs of the new games.
It,
Luigi's go for it.
Anytime I haven't played Luigi's Mansions 3 yet. It's on my list. But
Oh, okay.
anytime I see that game, it's always Luigi's Mansion 1 felt a lot darker. There was a lot less light
Oh yeah.
throughout the game. And Luigi's Mansion 3 looks there's a lot more light throughout the levels.
Luigi's Mansion 3 is much more like, I guess, just lighter tone in general, like much more happier. It's kind of like, I don't know what the best way to describe it, but like it's a lot less of a dark take. It's not like Luigi's Mansion 1 was like fucking Silent Hill or anything, but like
Yeah.
it was very like atmospheric. Like that's kind of the big thing. A lot of that atmosphere is gone in 3. It's much 3 is much more puzzle and like kind of combat focused in general, whereas 1, I feel like a lot of that fun came from just exploring the mansion, seeing the cool stuff around. I will say 3 is a lot longer than 1, so that's something going for it. But even then, like I just like the tighter, cleaner experience of 1. But again, it's just a me thing. I think technically you could say 3 is a better game, but I just love 1 so fucking much. And I haven't even played Darkmoon, so I can't say anything there. But the main thing, the game I really wanted to kind of focus on is Alan Wake 2. This is a game I kind of had like a weird set of events with. So I started
Mm,
out. So I really love Control. That's Remedy's previous game. And I tried playing Alan Wake, the original game, and I just couldn't get into it. I hated the flashlight. I thought it was stupid having to flashlight every enemy. So I just kind of watched a recap going into Alan Wake 2. And what I've done when I started Alan Wake 2, I hated it. I was just not into it at all. I didn't like the gameplay. I thought the game wasn't scary. But as I beat this game, I can't stop thinking about this game. Like I genuinely, it is one of those games that I feel like is going to stick with me to the end of the year and even for years to come. As time goes on, I'm going to like this game more and more. It is so immediately interesting in this AAA landscape of a game that looks this good, runs this good, is this beautiful, is able to have a weird and insane story, and it actually works. Because the problem with a lot of games like this that try to go for a weird story, like, oh, it's so crazy and kooky, is that by the end, none of it makes sense. At the end of this game, everything makes no, okay, that's the exception. Don't you dare. But with this game, this is a completely different story. Like it is, at the end of it, everything makes sense. They very much lay it out, and it all described perfectly. But the big thing, I want to go over the negatives I still have with the game. I don't think it's scary. That could just be a me thing. A lot of people, Bop, one of our co-hosts or guest, he finds the game terrifying, but he's not big on survival horror usually. Very outside his wheelhouse. I thought the game was just the bottom of the barrel in terms of scares. It's just not scary. Go
You
ahead.
usually don't get scary games, do you?
I don't. It's a weird thing. I think ever since I beat Silent Hill 2, I just stopped getting scared at games. But then, the only game that still gets me is FNAF. Like that for some reason. Five Nights at Freddy's, that stupid fucking game that 8-year-olds can play. For some reason, I can't play it. But yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't really get scared that much at games in general. Resident Evil games don't really scare me. Dead Space, original Dead Space didn't scare me. Maybe Remake will, but I guess like that is more of a me thing in regards to the scare factor. But I also just think that a lot of the scares it tries to go for in this game are really cheap. That it is a jump scare game. There's a lot of scares that are literally just jump scares instead of trying to do cool atmospheric stuff with the spookiness. It is just like a flash on the screen of a live action person yelling, and it's like, what are you trying to do here? And not once did that get me off guard. But even then, like other than that, like the gameplay, I just think it's kind of weak. I don't think it's bad. It's very similar to Resident Evil's gameplay. I just think it's not nearly as tight and as good feeling as that game. And there's still the dumb flashlight mechanic. I don't know why they're so
It's
obsessed with the whole.
it's
Go ahead.
Luigi's Mansion.
No, because Luigi's Mansion, like it's like the flashlight is infinite, it's clean, it works. But this game, it's like
It's
flash the light and then shoot him, and then okay. Here's my
it's
problem.
Survivor.
My problem is like there's not a clear indicator to how much shots these enemies take. Because in like Resident Evil, I feel like you get a clear enough indicator. It's like, okay, this guy is almost down. Like it takes this amount of shots. I swear to God, some enemies I would take down in 2 pistol shots, and then some enemies, like I literally see their rib cage poking out, and they're still walking towards like hunky dory. Just a lot of combat in this game just felt so annoying to the point where I just stopped trying to engage with them. Like I'm not even going to try to fight them, and I enjoyed the game a lot more because I stopped engaging with the combat. So that's kind of why like I can't give this game a 10 or a 9 even. Like I would give this game an 8. But again, that could change over time because again, this game is so incredible when it comes to its storytelling. There is a sequence in the middle part of this game that everyone's been talking about, and that's for good reason. Everyone knows that the whole We Sing section, that chapter, is absolutely up there for my moment of the year. Just very similar to the ashtray maze in Control, if anyone played that game. One of my favorite sequences in this year of gaming, right up there with a sequence in Spider-Man 2. And even with that, like
Was
I just love. Oh, go ahead.
was there a certain moment where everything changed your opinion on the game, like, or was it just gradually changing as
It
you
was.
played along?
It's interesting. It very much was a gradual change. I think after We Sing, that whole chapter, which is like chapter 4 of 9 for Alan's story, because it's separated between Alan and Saga. It very much changed to me being like much more open. And also, I just think I played the game differently. Like I said, I started trying to avoid fighting every single enemy, and instead try to like focus more on like going through situations as quickly as possible. Not in like a rushing way, but like I don't have to like waste my time fighting these like random mobs of enemies, and I enjoyed the game a lot more because of that.
And I believe
It
that's
almost
how it should be played.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it really is just I played the game wrong. Like I honestly think that. I think in a year or so I could replay this game and my opinion changes even more and I'm like, wow, actually this game's awesome. And like everything about it works. I think also it just comes down to like there is a lot of dialogue and talking in the beginning of the game to the point where I get a little tired of games with a lot of dialogue like that at the very start. I'm kind of a big like opener guy. Like you got to start really strong for me. But even with that, I mean, I think this is a very solid game of the year contender. I have to say this this might be my soundtrack of the year. Like genuinely, the soundtrack to this game is absolutely unmatched. It is a lot like vocally, like the vocal tracks in this game. I still listen to them like on my way to work and whatnot. Like everything in regards to that has just been top tier. And I think Sam Lake, I have so much respect for him as a developer. He's such a stand-up guy, and that whole team over at Remedy, I'm so excited to see. The ending to the game, all I'll say, is very open-ended. Kind of tells me they're like, okay, we'll continue that in DLC. I will be there. I am very excited to see where that comes up. And yeah, I think Alan Wake 2, that is a very, very good video game, and I'm hoping it gets the recommendations and nominations at Game Awards and whatnot.
How are the boss fights in the game? Because I like the boss fights in Alan Wake
Uh,
1.
No, they're not very good.
No?
I don't really care for them. I mean, it's like a personal thing. It's like I didn't really care for the gameplay. Maybe I think it's a lot of people actually really like
Yeah.
the gameplay to this game, so maybe it'll be different for you. I didn't personally like them. Though if you like the boss fights in Alan Wake 1, then you'll probably like them in here because they're largely unchanged.
Yeah.
But I also started Baldur's Gate 3. I don't have too much to say. I'm about 7 hours in. All I'll say is I'm stupid. I think these type of RPGs, like Navi, how you were saying, like CRPGs, like that's your shit. I am just a
Yeah.
dummy,
Is
dumb. Like
is this your first one?
I don't know. I think it might be. Most likely. It's
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where like there's so many menus, so many different button prompts.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, I accidentally ended my own turn like 10 times in this game. I don't know why. Because I'm
Oh
like,
my.
oh, because
You
triangle is
skip.
the end turn button.
Yeah.
No. So what happened? I am so used to playing Ratchet and Clank where it's like I want to pull up my wheel. So like that's hold triangle in Ratchet and Clank games. So I'm like, oh, I'll press triangle to hold up my wheel, and then it just ends my turn. And I'm like, fuck. But
Hey,
other than that though,
can you connect
go
the
for it.
keyboard and mouse to? Can you connect the keyboard and mouse to it? Because
No,
that
anything
game
wrong with the button
is.
prompts. No, I think it actually controls well. It's just me being dumb with the like triangle. But, like all the controls, like they actually mapped it really well to console. Like everything makes sense. Like it's just one of those things to get used to. There is
Yeah.
a lot of situations where like pressing up on the D-pad and then holding up on the D-pad to do two completely drastically different things. So it's like I got to get that kind of reminded of. But I mean, even if I could, I'm pretty sure you can control with keyboard and mouse. I don't like playing games like that, so probably it just wouldn't work for me. But even then, and like I am still in the game a lot, mostly from a narrative and the dialogue. A lot. Baldur's Gate 3, a lot of people were saying like this ups the bar for RPGs, and I 100. I think, like, not to beat a dead horse. Why doesn't Starfield have cutscenes like this? Like, why are the like? It's like you have the cinematic camera angles and 4 even, and then Starfield was like, why don't we go back to how we did it in Oblivion? It's like, no, you're
You
reverting. Go
you
ahead.
you saw the article where one of the ex-developers explained how they wanted a more condensed world, but Pete Hines was like, "No, let's
Oh no, it was
expand it."
Todd Howard. It was Todd
Oh, Todd
Howard, and
Howard. Yeah. Todd Howard.
yeah, it was like it was Todd Howard, and like just the it won out in the end that like they would go for procedural generation, which man,
He's
I,
gone
we'll
now. That won't happen.
we'll talk about Starfield more in the future, but yeah, it's like I look at what this game is able to do with its dialogue, like checks, like deception, intimidation, all that good shit. And it's like, it's like why I fell in love with Fallout New Vegas. Like I love that RPG goodness when it comes to this dialogue and trees. Listen, I'm mostly a gameplay guy, but like sometimes I'm playing this game and I'm like talking to all these people, having a blast, and then they're like, okay, we got to get in a fight. And I'm like, because I just like that is not doing it for me. Like it's not bad. I don't think the combat's bad. It's just not for me. To the point where like I think this is the first game I might actually turn it down to easy mode. Honestly,
you just have to turn it down to easy mode and get used to, because the game relies on you comboing with everyone, building a party where everyone's abilities benefit off each other. So like someone knocks someone down and then you use an ability that works on someone who's prone, or someone puts water on the floor and you shock everyone who's wet. It relies on you doing combos with your teammates and getting used to that.
see, I'm like I said, I'm stupid. I'm playing this like I play Pokemon games when I was a kid, where I'm like, all right, magic missile, you do the strong attack, and it's like I understand all you're saying, oh, but I'm wasting a turn by not attacking. But like I know that's not the case, but my brain just does not work that way. I need to channel my
In easy
generation
mode, you can
Pokemon
do that.
mindset. In easy mode, I can.
If you could probably you could probably wing it and just use your strongest attacks and not worry about using debuffs or buffs.
Yeah, because like I really do love like the story and the dialogue. Like Shadow, bro, I fucking love Shadowheart. Like, bro, the year already for me, because she was we're having this deep conversation, and I just like see a dialogue option that's just like, I want to get to know you more personally. And it's like, oh yeah, okay. And she's like, camp at night. It's like, wait, hang on, what are we doing here? So it's exciting in and of itself, and just in general, like I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. I love could just say, hey, this important story companion, you could just leave them. You leave them out today. Like that. I think she's an orc. It's the green lady a cover. I don't know what race she is. I know it's not actually orc, but she was stuck in a cage, and it was basically like, oh, I need to free her, but I'm like, I don't like her, so I just left her. I'm just like, I'm not dealing with this.
Oh my god.
And yeah, and then they outright like she calls me a coward, and then I just get a notification. It's like, oh yeah, that quest updated. I went back, and the cage is broken, and the guys who were imprisoning her are dead. And it's like, oh shit, I probably have to deal with her later on. Like that's exciting. Like
So
all my decisions are changing.
in D&D, everything you do is gonna have future effect, and that's why I love it.
Yeah, I've never played D&D because I never really had a group to do it. But if
Yeah,
D&D is like this, it's exciting.
this is a CRPG that I don't think is good for beginners, but beginners can't play it. It's just a big learning curve.
Yeah, and I really do think it's just me being stupid. Like that's really it. I think I will might most likely turn it down to easy just to like get a maybe like easy for a little bit just to get better acquainted with the combat, and then as time goes on, like actually get more invested in how it works. But yeah, like that it's a very impressive game. Like that's kind of my big thing right now.
It,
My big takeaway so far. It is an insanely impressive game, and Larian should be applauded for what they did with this one.
it feels like what an RPG should be. Like like it's not just a genre. This is a role playing. You're actually role playing.
Role playing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to play more. I'll update as we go. But that's pretty much everything that I've been playing. Moon, wake up.
I'm up.
You
I'm
gotta
up.
do outro.
So that was a extensive episode. I hope you all enjoyed. Tune in next week as we probably wrap up BlizzCon, whatever else they may announce over the weekend, and all the other exciting news that will be happening. We got some food comas in the works, so be on the lookout for those. And we'll see you all next week on another episode of Slice of Gaming. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.